we start recording.
Uh-oh. Too late. You were saying before I start when I just pressed the button. Did I do something wrong?
I got my voice.
Oops.
Uh-oh. 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 We're in trouble now. Well, you don't sound any different than last time I heard you. I don't think.
It is getting back better. A friend gave me a tip that I'd like eat potato chips. That would help. So I ate some potato chips.
Really? Potato chips helps with your voice?
They said the oil in them helps.
Hmm.
And I just happen to have potato chips, so I ate some.
Oh. Oh, I was wondering why Mr. Beans wasn't on. I guess I didn't send him the link.
Oops.
Whoops.
Oh, well.
That'll
I mean,
do.
the handsomest man, my eyes are craving to see the handsomest man.
Yeah.
I'm over here.
No doubt.
Ooh.
But, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to handle this show.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
My eyes are all getting googly already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
See
you?
my bear on my hat?
Bear on the hat.
My bear on my hat.
I
Yeah.
put glasses on for that.
He,
Okay.
You might.
he came to me from Fairbanks, Alaska. So his name is Douglas Fairbanks Bear.
Oh, I
That's
like your bear.
cute. That's cute.
Well,
All
next
right.
week we'll be
Handsome
back in camp again.
Yeah. I would have been out there now,
Mhm,
but
yeah.
I'm not. I'll be there in next month.
July.
We're
I don't
gonna.
know if I can get to that one. It's a long way away.
Yeah.
Well, you better
I'm
get to it.
going to come in July too. I'm gonna try.
You better get to it.
Oh,
But I'm gonna try to
that's
come too.
Hey, did
That's
you
a
look
great
into
one.
the? Did you look into that that bed thing that Sue was telling you about?
yeah, I have. I need to find one to check it out because I think that would work
I do too.
if it's long enough. The
Oh,
problem is
they do make them long enough.
from hip to head. That's where the one I had got me. It was too short. And it held me up fine from hip to shoulder, but head went over the back. And it was hard to sleep that way.
Yeah. Well, here comes the world's handsomest man. Are you ready, Ginger?
I'm ready.
Shall we get a drum roll?
I have to do. Wait. We haven't seen him yet. He's not in full force.
Don't, Ginger, don't scream.
Well, please don't scream.
I mean, it's like, you know,
Take my
like
Can I
mean,
do
it's
now?
like-
Call
it's like it's like the Beatles, you know, when you meet the world's handsomest man.
Yeah, but I've lost my voice. I'm not sure how it would come out. Let me see. See that one.
Do you remember? Oh, you're too young, but when you know, remember when the Beatles first started?
Thank you.
The girls were all screaming and fainting and crying and
Mhm.
everything. Well, that's usually the reaction the world's handsomest man gets.
Yeah,
Okay.
but with
But
Elvis,
of course.
with
Oh,
Elvis,
look! Oh my God, you've really affected her there, Beans.
with Elvis, they were not only screaming and crying, they were throwing their panties on
Oh my
stage.
goodness.
Yeah, Tom Jones too.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
Jones.
Tom Jones.
Yeah,
I used to get in trouble for watching him.
yeah. It's not unusual for them to do that.
I
Isn't that?
you
Oh,
you took
that-
my joke.
Was that a pun?
Yeah,
Not
that
unusual.
But you know, the world's handsomest man tops them all. He's on a whole different level.
I mean, yeah.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Hey, Michael.
Is everybody using food names now? Oh,
Yep.
God.
Yeah, you're the only one who wants to be seen as authentic here.
Hey,
I
I'm an
think Ginger should
authentic
be
maw
called-
cobbler. Gosh.
Mark Cobbler. Well,
Pink.
I think ginger should be called ginger and tonic.
Oh, please. Ginger doesn't need a ginger.
No, she doesn't
Oh.
need a ton.
How about ginger?
Luckily, I'm not a drinker.
Oh,
Ginger snap, Lockwood.
Oh, that would definitely.
We'll leave Tink for now. You got to be on the show 3 times before you get a food name. This is only your second
I'm
time,
on
isn't it?
second, so I can stick with Tink right now.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. You don't get a food name yet. I'm going to start the show. We're going to have Kevin come on. I got a quick little story that we're going to share that we experienced. That's pretty freaking remarkable. But he seems like he slept in today. But I'm in contact with him. So I'm going to go live on Facebook. We're going to have a fun. We're going to have a fun show.
A dance contest on your camp out. You had a dance contest. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Did you like that?
Yeah.
Well, hey, we danced. We danced when we were hiking up in the golden years with backpacks on.
Yeah, but we were doing Let's Twist Again like we did last summer, remember?
mhm.
Yes, that's what we were. We were twisting.
Yeah, these kids today, I mean, that I don't even know what that song was. Some rave thing or whatever. Like Randy, my friend, told me actually went to a concert, and I said, "What do you mean you went to a concert? That's not even music, is it?" I mean, it's just like I don't know what it is. I don't know. I guess what?
I remember people saying that about the Beatles and Elvis Presley,
They
and
said that about disco too. That
Yeah.
stuck around for 10 years.
Yeah, well, they were right about that.
No.
No, I can't handle rap. First of all, I can't handle the language. Number
Yeah.
one.
Well, the rap that I like was Scott Nelson rapping the Sierra
There you go.
Sounds.
There you
That
go.
was
That was
classic.
classic. Yeah. That was.
But the thing about rap, right, is we forget about in the 1960s when there was a lot of music came out and a lot of that music was crap. But then the really good stuff came to the top. It's the same thing with rap. There's a few good rap songs that are just classic, world
Yeah,
class.
there
and
are.
a lot of them
Yeah.
are just gutter, booty shaking
Mm.
stuff.
Hey, Ma and Ginger can do some. You can sing some rap, Mr. Beans, and we can get some booty shaking going on. So.
I did shake my booty, but I don't know any rap songs.
Well, no, you don't. No, you just shake the booty. Beans will sing. No, Beans and I'll do a rap song. Yeah, you can
I
just
can do
get.
that.
Meeting
And I'll
is now
keep time.
live streaming.
Yeah.
Shake my booty.
We're now live on the Pork and Bean Show. Hello,
Yep.
everybody who's alive.
Hey, everybody. My name is Port Cunningham. No, that wasn't funny. This is my introduction. All right, let me try that one more time.
I'll lose my voice this time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Port Cunningham. Oh, now I'm thinking it's funny. What? Hold on.
It's not funny.
It's not funny at all.
No.
Hello, everybody. My name is Port Cunningham, and I'm here with my distinguished co-host, the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Baines. And this is the Pork and Bean Show, and we are joined by Ginger Tink Lockwood, a friend of the show. This is her second appearance on the show, and next time she appears, she's going to get a food name. And of course, Arla Collett, otherwise known as Ma Cobbler, and Thom Cantrall, or Tater Tom. Of course, I'm Port Cunningham. So how is everybody today?
Good.
Better
It's the
than
best
ever,
day.
Jeff.
It's the best day ever. Best day.
Yes, it's best day ever.
Best day ever. Yeah. If you got a piano keyboard and it says best day on one of the keys, you hit that one over. Best day, best day, best day. Yay.
Yes.
So we were talking about music before we came on the air, and you know, as far as disco goes, I did actually like the Bee Gees disco. I thought they were pretty good.
Mhm.
They did disco well, but I don't know.
After all, they
Anyway.
were staying alive.
Oh my gosh. This show is
That
so
was
full of puns
good.
this time.
That was good.
We should just do a show with nothing but puns and cliches and
Oh boy.
Hey, I got to share something with you.
all right.
We were in camp a couple of weeks ago with Barb's group, squatching with Barb and Goldie, and some friends of ours sent a video over for us to look at. We can't share it, unfortunately, so you have to be in camp to see it. But it's a very good video of 5 Sasquatch together.
Cool.
It appears to me to be a youth group, and
Yep.
how they do with their youth group. They have the one senior adolescent male in charge, and then a group of younger ones with him, and that's what this appears to be. But at any rate, you see 3 of them together, a larger one and 2 smaller ones. Then pan back to the left, the fellow who shot it was hunting at the time. I assume turkey hunting, because that was the only season open in Idaho at the time. And you see this little bitty guy, and there's a single one over to the far left, probably looks like maybe 40 yards away from the rest of the group. And the little one leaves him and starts running for the others. And he's just going as hard as he can go. He gets there, and one of them reaches down to pick him up. You see those long arms out, just removes it a bit, any chance of it being anything other than what it is. But it's a fantastic little video. That's worth getting to camp just to see. Unfortunately,
I've been feeling that we're going to get more and more pictures, better and better videos. It's just, I think it's the time, you have that guy, Mike Patterson, he put up,
hold it.
you know,
I don't like to say anything negative about people, but when you deal with there, you got to remember what's happened with him. And I'm not even saying it was him that did it, but his audio, when we did audio analysis on it, came back, the voice print matched the landowner. Now, it could have been the landowner hoaxing Mike just as easily. And all I ever say is there's an anomaly in that has to be checked on.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy, and there's a lot of controversy about everybody, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, there
it
is. I
it
mean,
kind of comes with it, and everybody gets torn to shreds. But one thing you can say about Mike Patterson is he was the subject of a video in the early days, and like around 2012 and stuff like that back then. And the video that he was in was the first Sasquatch video that got to hit 1 million views. So anyway, that's all part of the Sasquatch saga is the controversy and the hoaxing and all this kind of stuff.
but it's what we learn. It's who are we in this, not who are they, or who people portray them to be, or anything else. I mean, there are still people who say Patterson Gimlin is fake. So you're going to have all kinds of people say this is, say that is, and when it comes right down to it, what matters is what each of us do with what our understanding is. And to me, that's what's important.
Yeah, but I still say that's part of the evolution of the whole community is the Sasquatch
Yes.
are loosening it up and willing to have their pictures taken a little bit clearer now and a little bit maybe even closer.
Well, they
So
have in the past. I mean, I've seen stuff through the years. I mean, even all the way back to 2011, that you knew exactly what you were looking at, but people didn't want to put it out for various reasons. And I totally understand that. I've got stuff I've never put out because I don't feel the need to put it out. But one thing that has happened.
that's part of the the Sasquatch is is keeps things hidden, and they'll give you the feeling of don't show this or whatever. You get
Yeah.
this feeling like I don't, it shouldn't be shown, and
Yeah.
out of respect and all that kind
Well,
of stuff.
I actually went through that with the bigs in my yard. If every time I hit record, they would stop howling or stop walking or whatever they were doing, they would just get quiet and stand still. And that happened to me over and over and over again. So I realized if I was going to have encounters with them, I could not have the phone as part of the equation. Now that was just the ones in my yard. I mean, that were coming here. When I've gone other places, they've let me record them, but sometimes the Bigfoot are like, no.
Yeah. Well, it's always nice to ask permission, right? Then that way they can just that way, sometimes it'll show up in your pictures and whatever. And may I interject here and say that the photo thing that we're talking about and how they're getting clearer or not clearer is a perfect lead in to what I wanted to share with Mr. Wellington or Kevin Royce and myself. So should we get into that? It's quite interesting.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I'm one of those guys that, we all have different strengths and whatever as far as looking at pictures or in our dealings with the Sasquatch. They all teach us in different ways. They all let us see them in different ways, and that goes without saying, as we all know. But sometimes I have a really hard time with some of these pictures where guys will say, there's one standing right behind you, or all I see is like a shadow or something. I don't see anything, right? Quite often. However, I've also got them on where I've captured them on some of my photographs where I can see them quite clearly. And that it seems like they appear a little different in mine, but maybe not. Maybe it's just because it's meant for me. I mean, there's always that. If they have a photograph or whatever that they want you to see, you will be able to see it probably better than anyone
Oh
else.
yeah. They're the ones in charge. We aren't. Man thinks, I can do this and I can prove that, and
Exactly.
even down to DNA, down to everything. We are not in charge.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that are going to decide if the time is right.
That's right.
And,
Yeah. So anyway, I was looking at a group chat that some of us are members of, and some fella had posted a picture in there, and to me it just looked, and everyone was raving about it, and I just said respectfully, which is unusual for me, but
we didn't recognize who it came from.
You thought I was hacked, right?
Yeah, right.
But I said, I know everybody sees stuff differently and whatever, but I just don't. That is not that's not my forte or what. I didn't say it quite like that, but I said, all I see is shadows. But I said it respectfully, and I said I also realize that people see things different and experience things different. So I just made that comment, and as I was looking at that post and commenting, and I was also talking to Kevin, who sees things quite different than me, which is fine. He sees some things that I think are just pareidolia or shadows, which I'm not saying they are, but that's just that's just what I see. So we're having a friendly kind of banter, and we've been going back and forth on this for quite a while, actually, and
years,
sometimes
literally years,
literally years, and like it's kind of now it's just kind of like an ongoing joke, but we still pretend we're arguing and stuff, So we were going at it pretty good. About the validity of some of these photos, whether there's something in there or whether it's pareidolia or what. And so I'll set this up. So like I said, I'm looking at this post, I'm talking to Kevin at the same time, and we're discussing it and having a friendly argument, put it that way.
Well, okay, it was friendly, but we were pretty intense. Come on, you got to admit it.
Well, yeah, but I think we were more intense before. Now we just kind of like,
yeah.
I think the intensity is more like just keeping the joke alive, or however you would say that. So anyway, we're discussing it back and forth, and as we're doing that, I'm looking at the post and they say, well, I'm gonna show this fellow who posted in the group, I'm gonna show him one of my pictures and say, like, I could see this and whatever, and kind of do a little explanation on it. So I'm looking at my downloads, and I don't even know if I clicked on a picture, but I was looking at the downloads and I had one selected to send. All of a sudden, I see another picture pop up in the group. Okay. Another picture pop up in the group. This picture was not in that file. It was not in that series of pictures. I hadn't seen the picture in months and months and months. I 110% did not click that picture. But bear in mind, Kevin and I were we were having our little discussion. So look what showed up. And like I said, I did not click on it. It's impossible that it got there.
Imagine my surprise. Right? Brian, why did you post my picture?
Yeah, but I didn't post it. That's the thing.
By the way, that was a really good ice cream bar. I mean, really good.
Is that a good
Oh,
humor?
that's what that is, huh?
I thought it was a chicken leg.
no.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind too.
Well, you can have a chicken leg, Tom. You can have an ice cream bar, at least not more than maybe half of one or something.
Oh, I can have one now and again.
Can you? Well, that's good.
Mhm.
So anyway, the way I interpret it is I automatically knew, okay, this is their sense of humor, because we all know what a great sense of humor they had. So they were just playing with us. And, this picture came up. It's absolutely impossible for it to have shown up otherwise. I didn't have it, like right clicked and, copy, ready to paste it. None of that. It wasn't in the file. So this kind of showed up. And so I told Kevin, and he was apparently laughing all day about it. And why don't you tell us what happened on your end, Kevin?
So, there's that initial shock of seeing myself posted in the comment section unexpectedly. And Brian says, I didn't do that. And my first reaction was, well,
take it down, you said.
I did actually. I said that. And Brian said, I think it's their sense of humor. And then almost immediately I got the energy confirmation and a floral aroma confirming that, yep, we did that. So it was, and that's what made me laugh so hard, because they totally got into the middle of Brian's and my conversation to just loosen things up a bit, right? Just say, no, don't be fighting. We're just going to do this to disarm you.
That's a good one.
And so I don't know why Brian didn't delete it. I wished he had.
Well, no, I'm not going to delete it after what happened and whatever. I mean, I think it's important to point that out to people, because I mean, these things are not unusual for us, but they're good. They're just amazing for people. I always want to share everything, right? I think this is too good to delete and not share.
I think
Well, it was funny for sure.
You have to redefine what it means to have a Sasquatch in a picture. When the Sasquatch select the picture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had them take pictures off of my camera. I've had them add pictures onto my camera. I've been talking about them taking pictures off my camera, and then what do I do? What do they do when I'm talking about it to somebody? They take a picture off the camera. Or I've had them add pictures on the camera after they remove one. All kinds of stuff like that. And also, remember one time, Tom, we were talking about the blood on the bed that Sue and I were experiencing at the same time, and that was somebody was tinkering with us, and coincidentally we met just shortly after that. But anyway, that was typed into the thing on Facebook, the little where you type your comments at the top, and it said blood on the bed. So that was kind of similar to this, but this one's kind of along those lines. But I found this one to be hilarious. So.
Right, we can stop screen sharing anytime, Brian. Anytime.
What kind of ice cream was that? Anyway, good humor?
So it's vanilla ice cream, with a chocolate toffee covering that was,
Oh,
oh my gosh. I could eat a box of those without any hesitation.
now your wife doesn't watch the show, does she?
Well, I mean, she's home. She's probably listening in. Who knows?
Are you sure? Because well, if she is listening in, Kevin told me that he sneaks out of the house and eats a whole box of them while you're.
Brian, you will pay for that comment.
Anyway, enough of that. But isn't that funny?
Mhm.
Okay, let's get around to our
I
guest.
like the warm up, the 20-minute warm up.
Wow, that just
this
happened.
this is Ginger's show, so
Right.
who knows?
Oh,
Let's get.
She's got some pictures. You got her pictures there, Brian?
Yeah, but I do. But you know,
So
why
when
don't
the
we talk to
time's
her for
right,
a bit?
you can show
I'm
up.
game for anything, you guys, whatever you want to do.
We're going to show you pictures, Ginger. Don't worry.
I'm not.
So what do you tell? So what do you tell the astute pork and beans audience and the rest of them that watch?
Before you start, I just want to say it was a pleasure being here, you guys. I have other things I've got to do this morning, so
All right.
I will be watching in the background, but
All right.
I'm gonna log off.
What possibly could you have to do?
Chores, lots of chores.
Well, you are domesticated, so I
I
understand
am
that.
like a cow in the field chewing its cud. Bye, guys.
It's good to you, Kevin.
he did say his wife was home today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank him for coming on. That was I wanted to share that because that just happened like last week.
Cool.
So Ginger Tink Lockwood, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So why don't you tell us, start us from the beginning of your journey, because, you know, I think that we all realize that the Sasquatch or our guides are watching us all the way through our life. So what were some of the first clues that you had that, or first experiences you had that, you know, told you might be on a little bit different path than some people?
Well, my first experiences were when I was a kid, but I didn't realize I was dealing with Bigfoot then. I didn't know what a Bigfoot was, and I'd never heard that word. So I thought I was dealing with bears. So I didn't realize I was having Bigfoot encounters until one showed up in our yard as an adult here in Georgia. One night, I was up late because my husband had to go work, and I just broke one of my leg bones all the way through, and just a few days before, and I was kind of concerned how I was going to take care of myself the next day. And so I was up worried a little, and I figured, well, I'll just sleep through tomorrow and stay up all night. And then that way I won't need my husband while he's gone at work. So I was up late, and I start hearing this howling really loud in my backyard all of a sudden. And I look at my cat Angel, because I know cats are aware of spiritual things and stuff. And she gets on her belly and she army crawls all the way across the family room floor, and she slinks down the basement steps. And she's never done that before. So I thought, okay, that's strange. So I got up on my crutches and I went out on the porch, and the howling was so loud. It sounded like it was through a megaphone, and it was in my backyard, but it was pitch dark, so I couldn't see. And then I heard one down the street start howling back with the exact same kind of howl. It went back and forth for quite some time. And then I got back on my crutches, and well, I was banging around out there and turning on the light because I still didn't know it was a Bigfoot. So I was trying to scare whatever it was away because I was afraid it was going to wake up my husband. He had to go to work the next morning, but it didn't care that I was making noises or that I was out there and had a light on. They just kept howling. So I came inside and I got my iPad. I hobbled back out there on my crutches to try to record it. As soon as I hit record, howling stopped. The one in our yard did, and the one down the street. And I thought, that's strange. It's kind of like they knew I hit record, you know, and I didn't know anything about the Bigfoot yet. My husband was watching Bigfoot shows at the time. And I didn't watch him with them, but doing dishes, I would overhear like the town hall meetings, and it made me start wondering if they were real because I would hear so many people that had had encounters. And I thought, okay, well, maybe they are real. There's that many people. But then when that happened that night, I stayed up all night trying to justify the house as something else. I was listening to owl calls, wild cats, everything, birds, everything online for 2.5 hours, trying to justify it as some kind of animal that howled. And I couldn't find anything that came even close to the sound I heard. And so finally, because of my husband watching Bigfoot shows, I had the thought to Google Bigfoot howls, and there was the exact howl I had just heard. And that's what made me a Bigfoot believer, really, was that night. And then I stayed up, the rest of the night because my husband was a Bigfoot believer, and he would have been thrilled to have that encounter. And because he hadn't had one yet. And I said, honey, we had Bigfoot in our yard last night. And and after that, they just kept coming back for a while, most nights. And so made me a Bigfoot believer. But yeah, when I was a kid, I was dealing with them too. But I really thought I had walking bear friends that walked up to me at night. It was dark out and I couldn't see them. I could just hear the loud bipedal steps. And I could kind of see a silhouette and see it was big and tall. And then we kind of lived out in the country of Florida. Also, one night we had a bunch of howling in our yard, and we had a babysitter that night. And it really was terrifying her. It was really loud howling. And then we heard banging on our garage door, and we saw the shadow, the silhouette of what was banging on our garage door. It was banging like this, and it was standing up straight, and it was as tall as our garage. And so the babysitter and my brother and I all ran up to my bedroom upstairs and closed the door and locked it until my parents got home. So I suppose that was probably a Bigfoot too. I don't know for sure, but I don't think I was dealing with walking bears.
Could you toss in like where you live somewhere in Georgia, like
Now I live in Georgia.
somewhere like north or west or something
Yes, I'm
Atlanta?
a little northwest of Atlanta,
Yeah,
Georgia.
yeah. Okay, so that puts it in everybody's mind, kind of the location. And
Yeah.
what part of Florida? The north part of Florida?
In Florida, I was right by Kennedy Space Center in a town called Titusville.
Okay. Okay, so
My dad was
everything west of 95 is Sasquatch territory out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was
think,
on the East
because there's
Coast.
rolling hills, a lot of pines, and a lot of rolling hills and swamps
Yeah.
and stuff.
And I-95 was right by us, right by our property. When I was growing up, I could ride my bike to it easily. But it ran right along the river, and we lived along the waterway some around NASA. My daddy was a NASA engineer his whole life, so we had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So, but he was very open-minded, and I think that helped me a lot when the Bigfoot came to the yard, because he had taught me about my own psychic abilities when I was a kid. So when I saw the Bigfoot doing things that seemed psychic, it helped me understand. Like when I hit record that night and they stopped howling, I mean, there's no way they could see I hit record.
Right. They just knew you think. Well, I was going to say something about that. It's like last year, I think they showed me this. They gave me a little hint, a little vision that around 1,000 of the Sasquatch people monitor every video. Anybody who's looking on the topic of Sasquatch on the internet or on the videos, they make a connection there. So your husband was doing watching the Sasquatch videos, and you were kind of out of the loop at that time, right?
I was.
So they might have been coming around just really for your husband and for you, because they kind of know what's going to go on in the future. They're going to know, oh, these people are going to be friends or whatever, you know. They kind of know
My
that in
husband
advance.
opened the gate to me believing so that when they come by, I knew what they were.
Yep. Oh, what a
Yeah.
nice. That's so many. Like what Arla says, they're in control of everything.
Mhm.
They got their finger on the pulse
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So
and know when you're ready.
you figured out right from your first realization that they had to be telepathic or whatever then, just because of the fact they knew, right?
I
About
figured
the
that the
recorder.
first time. Yes, I did. And because at the time I hit record, I did test it a few more times, to make sure it wasn't a coincidence. And you know, but I did figure it out really quick that they were telepathic, and I started talking to them telepathically a lot in the beginning.
Well, I would say that probably they didn't want to be recorded would be one thing. Some do and some don't. But I think the other thing is there was a big lesson in there for you, which you just spoke of, right?
Good
They
point.
they taught you a powerful lesson right off the bat. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
these Sasquatch are more than McGilla gorilla running around in the woods.
Than a gorilla
They're
running around, right? Because my you know how you are when you first start having downers. Lots of times you start trying to justify it, just like I stayed up for 2.5 hours trying to justify that howl I heard, and so they showed me that more than once, that they were telepathic, so that I couldn't justify it.
Yeah. Do you have any other examples of that? Oh, sorry, Beans. Go ahead. Or do
Um,
you want
I was
to?
just gonna say they took me out of my sleep and had me talk to a rock for 3 hours, and then 3 more days after that, the rock kept talking while I was wide awake, and that was my first clue that we're not in Kansas anymore. This is not knock on wood kind of reality.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell us about some more telepathic lessons that they taught you?
okay. Well, I know when they would walk up, well, the main ones was I kept trying to hit record because they were doing loud bipedal walking in my yard a lot.
Yeah.
And so every time I hit record, they would completely stop walking. And they were doing the chatter talking a lot where they sound like, and I would try to record, completely stop. So it was like that, showing me over and over. And I was afraid I would lose them and that they would stop coming around if I kept trying. So, and I wanted to get to know them. They fascinated me, so I wasn't willing to lose them. And so I started going with it. And when I would come out on the porch at night, they would often walk. They'd made two big trails, one on the left and one on the right side in our backyard, and both came to my porch area and, in front of it, kind of. So, I'll make sure I say everything exactly right. So, so when they came to the front of the porch, sometimes I would start feeling relaxed and sleepy, and I just went with it. And I would close my eyes and see if they could communicate with me like that. And I would see an X right away. And I knew that was them trying to communicate with me. And then I would just keep closing my eyes to see what thoughts and pictures I would get. And to this day, if I want to communicate with the biggies, when I see the X, I know they're with me. When I'm trying to telepathically take send them a message or get one, I wait till I see the X.
I think that's interesting and really revealing that, because most people wouldn't want anything to do with them. You already knew right from the beginning that you had them kind of in your heart. You didn't want them to leave and you were already invested in it. And that's obviously not a coincidence. Did you and Thom want to talk about that? They're obviously working with her before the introduction, I guess, is what I want to say. What
Well,
do you guys think?
I've known Ginger for, oh my gosh, years.
Yeah.
And when she first started, and I think Thom probably met her around that time too, actually in Georgia. And she was just open. She was learning, excuse me, but she was so open and she wanted to know everything. And it was interesting watching her, and it has been interesting watching her. I mean, we've even traveled some together
Mhm.
and spent some time together. So if there was anyone ready, it was Ginger.
And
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Ginger was also part of the group. You and what, 15 other people
yes,
Yep.
at the campfire when two of them
Yep.
decided to join us at the campfire.
you know what? Did you know that you guys were the first people I met in the Bigfoot world?
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had met Gail. She was the very first. And
Uh,
then she lived by me at that time. And then then Gail, got me in
Mhm.
the group with you guys, and I went to the camp out, and you and Bob Gimlin and Arla and everybody were the first people I met in the Bigfoot world.
Oh,
uh,
That's
geez,
my introduction.
you started off right at the top of the ladder.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that at the time. I didn't know who Bob Gimlin was. And my husband told me that camp out. And
We used to have what was called the
laid back.
Georgia campouts. The whole theory of it was it would be laid back. We weren't going to do this, and we weren't going to do this at 10 o'clock, and this at 12, and this at. We came, we talked, we opened, we walked in the woods. I can't even begin to. I could probably write a book on what happened at those
Out those campouts, yeah.
campouts.
absolutely.
I think the first one I was at, Jonathan and I shared a tent, and Jonathan was so wonderful. I mean, he'd get up in the morning, he'd put an extra blanket over me so I'd be
Yeah.
warm enough.
As Jonathan.
Yeah. And I was laying there one night on my cot and reading a book, and I heard a noise. You could hear him outside the tent, and heard one running and stopped. So I looked over my head out the window of the tent, and here's his hairy face looking in at me. And he saw me see him, and boom, away he went.
I remember the first night there, Paul and I had a sighting. And we had never been to that spot that you guys were camping at, and it's so weird that it was only 45 minutes from our house. And, we get to know you guys and get invited to a camp out right by us. It's kind of like we're meant to be there. And because everything just fell into place. And the first night, Paul and I had a sighting where we were on the road going back to our car, and we saw what looked like flashlights moving like this in the air. And Paul said, "Is that Boy Scouts with flashlights?" And then all of a sudden they disappeared, and we could see two Bigfoot in front of us, and one was on the ground, and I believe that's who they all called Nightcrawler. They were going to camping long before I was. And there was another one standing up. He seemed like a juvenile because he seemed about my height. But the one on the ground had blue, beautiful eye shine. It changed to green right in front of me. And then the one standing up had white eye shine. And I remember I was kind of shy that first camp out because I didn't know if I was strange or something.
I don't believe
having
that. I don't
fun.
believe you were shy.
I was a little, for me, I was.
No.
But,
That's a lie.
I felt strange because I was having encounters already. And then so I thought, oh my God, is there something weird about me? And those were so it helped me having Thom and Arla there and people that had a lot,
That was an amazing group, and the majority of those people who went every year to those campouts are still all of our sweet friends. I mean, they're family.
They formed family.
Yeah, we did over several years of doing it, and it changed. The campouts changed, and And the highlight, I guess, was that when you came and Bob Gimlin was there, when we got to drum while he was chanting prayers. I mean, it's like this awesome thing that we got to share. And the people that came and became a part of the family were like Ginger,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Did I
I
ever
don't,
tell you how that came about, that Bob was there?
That was, yeah, Bob was there the first camp out I went to with you guys.
Well, Bob and I were just at lunch one day, and he said, well, what you got going? I said, well, I'm going to Georgia next month or the month after. I said, want to go? He's, oh, hell yeah. I was going to Arla's camp out. You want to go? Oh, hell yeah. That was also the camp out that Arla got me.
yeah, I did. That was one time I actually got you back for.
Oh, yeah, in
I have
space.
pictures of that
I've got
and
the
a recording.
I've
Yeah,
got the video.
there is video
Yeah.
actually,
Oh,
and yeah, we had such a wonderful time that year. It was really special. And then what, we only had one or two more. I think one after that, and then
mhm,
after I went on the road with Matthew,
mhm.
it was hard for me to be there. But we did what we set out to do, I guess, create this wonderful group of people who were family and still are family and are always going to be family. And that's what happens in the world of the Sasquatch people. They bring people together, and that's such a special thing.
Yeah. We got a nice Penny Rummel. We call her Penny P. She says, hello, good to see all of you. Brain, Michael, Arla, Tom, Ginger, Tinker. Sending you all love. Oh, she called me Brain. you, you don't know how many times people call me Brain, and I don't know why, Billy.
No, that would be one of the world's great mysteries there.
Hi, Penny.
Hi, Penny.
Yeah, she's got a food name too, Penny Peas.
Well, actually, my first name is a food name.
Is
Ginger.
it?
Yeah.
Ginger.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, but wait a minute. You gotta be
She's
on
a
the show.
spice.
You gotta be on the show 3 times before you get an official food name.
Okay,
She
but it
is.
is already my name.
She is a spice.
Yeah. So, what were some of your experiences? I know you talked a little bit about them, but why don't you tell us some of your favorite experiences at some of these gatherings, Ginger? It sounds like right away they started like hitting you up like immediately, but
It didn't really surprise me because I'd been hit up in my yard a lot, but I didn't know I'd have an encounter outside of my yard. I had no idea. So it really did surprise me when we had an encounter, the first night at our gathering. It did surprise me. And I just thought, am I strange? How come I'm getting all these, sightings and stuff? But a lot of people were having them there. And, but that was one of the first ones I had there that I just explained. And there's been so many there. The most were in my yard though. And now I've been having them all over the place. Like I had them in Washington State when I went with Arla and saw Tom up there at Barb's house. And I've had them in other states now too. But the ones at the place we were camping at, one time I had one that shook me up. And it comes to my mind a lot. And then the one time I saw one where I saw the biggest eye shine I've seen. That was one of my favorite encounters. I was with my husband and Sam Chandler, who you know, and Keith Bearden. And we were all on a hiking trail, and we were just sitting around with chairs and waiting for the Bigfoot to show up. And we saw some eye shine. And I saw the eye shine, that was a little green eye shine in places. And then for some reason, though, I just felt like there was something more. So I got up and I walked down the trail a little, and there was this Bigfoot there with the biggest eye shine I've ever seen in my life. I know Arla had told me once they can make heart shine, and it's really big. So I would say this maybe was the heart shine, because Sam says so too. To this day, he's never seen shine this big before. And it was just unbelievable. It was coming out of its eye, and it was about that big when it came out all the way, the shine, and it was strobing it and bringing it in and out. And then the one next to it wasn't flared out, but it was pure white light inside the eye. And then it had a white light, a ring around it, like it was wearing spectacles. And then there was a white line that went from this side of the brow to this side, but it was all light. And so you had this big one strobing in and out. And at the same time, there's a line of white light connecting the two eyes. And this one's just pure white inside. And there's a white ring around it. And it was the most, I've never seen them do something like that before. Usually, you see both eyes lit up exactly the same. But I learned they don't always do that now. And so that may be why sometimes people only catch one eye when they're getting the eye shine, because they don't always flare out both of them at the same time. But that one, they were making really huge. And I was trying to do it back because I really believe that we have the ability to do everything they do. We just don't know how to do it yet, all of it, So I was trying to make the eye shine back at it, and it was going in sync with me. When I flared out, when I was trying to flare out my eyes, it would flare out its eye at the same time. And when I stopped, it would pull its eye shine back in. And we were totally going in sync. And then Sam walked up and got on my left side right up against me, because sometimes you have to be right in someone's line of sight to see it. And he goes, wow. Oh wait, he was on the right side. And he goes, wow. And we were watching it for a bit because Keith and Paul were still sitting down the trail a bit. And we were watching the Bigfoot turn and look at them. And when it turned and looked at them, the light that was in front wasn't so bright because it was facing that direction. So it was just lighting up its facial features, and we could start seeing its face because it was at night. And I remember Sam said, are we seeing its facial features? And I said, yes, we are. And then it would turn back to us and flare out that shine real big and bright at us again. And it was just huge shine. It was just going in and out, in and out, in and out like that one eye. And it stayed there for quite some time. Then my husband, Paul, came up, got on my left side, and he goes, wow. Because it was that, the eye shine was that fascinating. And it was like the brightest white, sometimes it can be dithered. This was pure bright white light. And, to see the line going across to the eyebrows and the ring around the other eye and everything, it was just fascinating. So we stayed there and we talked to it for a bit and stuff. And it started to turn around and leave. And Sam was sad that it was leaving. And so,
Aww, that's cute.
yeah, so I wish it made me sad that Sam was sad, because I had been there for a while spending time with it before the guys had came up. So when it started to leave, I was okay with it. But it made me sad that Sam was sad. So because he hadn't got to spend as much time with it. So I just muttered real quietly. I mean, even my husband didn't hear it, but Sam heard it. And I muttered real quietly, oh, please don't leave, because I didn't I felt bad for Sam. And that Bigfoot whipped right around, and there's no way it could have heard me. There's no way, because I like whispered it and muttered it under my breath, and it whipped right around, and it started flashing and strobing its light huge at us after that. And Sam goes, "It heard you," and turned around. And so that was kind of cool too, because it was like, I don't know that it heard me or if it was connected to my mind,
Yeah.
because I whispered that.
It heard you. It may not
Okay.
have heard you speak it, but
Uh-huh.
it heard you.
Right,
Mhm.
right,
So
exactly. It
they
heard
knew.
me, but it
Yep.
may not have heard me speak it. Yes.
Yeah, but it heard you.
Because even Sam
Yeah.
says to this day, she just whispered it and it whipped around. So that was really cool. So, that was another place where they were teaching me the telepathic communication.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Sam.
Hey,
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 what was your food name again? I forgot.
Sam's here.
it was Sloppy Joe.
Oh, okay, I'll put that in. Yeah, Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe. Sloppy
But
Joe.
something else I learned from that. The Bigfoot really respond when it comes from your heart and it's not for your own self.
yes, does. Very much so.
Because
Yeah.
that was not for me. I was perfectly fine with it turning around because I had spent a good amount of time with it. That was completely for Sam that I said that. And they responded, and they showed me that over and over and over again, that when I ask for someone else, they respond.
It's that pure intent. I mean, you can even ask for yourself
Yes,
if it's done with pure intent.
and
And
respect.
that pure intent is in us. We just have to allow it to speak for us. And that comes from the heart. Opening that heart and just saying that. And they are masters at helping us to understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that night was that because I was sitting with like Paul and Keith, and we were sitting in our chairs, and Ginger was a little bit down the trail from us, and Paul and Keith and I were looking at a couple other ones that were up the hill they had like a green eye shine, and we were like watching them, and Ginger was like, "Oh guys, come over here, there's one over here," and we were like, "Yeah, Ginger, we see them, they're over here." And so we didn't even get up, and then she was finally like, "No, seriously, come over here." And I was like, "Okay." So I went over, and that's when I was like, whoa. It was
And it turned around just for you, Sam.
Yeah,
It did.
I gotta say, just to throw in my little contribution to the Sasquatch world, is I'm an ex-yogi. Right? As an ex-yogi, I've made it my business to go around and find God-realized men who are filled with God, right? So I met three Indian masters who were had they're like God realization, and they're fully enlightened men, and one woman, and then one Sasquatch. But anyway, I saw this guy named Sri Chinmoy in Miami, and he was doing a demonstration in a big auditorium, and his whole demonstration was he filled his life up with light, and he was just sitting there, and he went right into samadhi, and then he looked at everybody in this audience. It was dark, right? And what he was saying is, I'm a God man. This is God's light inside me. And it's like, we're not educated that way in the US, and it goes over everybody's head. The Sasquatch are saying, I got God inside me. You're seeing God now, right? You're seeing God's light. Because to me, if I saw that in the woods, knowing what I know, I would have just dove in prostration for, it's like, oh yeah, there's no question about it. But yeah, I wish that people could take that little understanding that when the light gets so full inside of you, it comes out your eyes, you're a God realized person, man. So these are really high beings doing this. So they can be really high and playful at the same time. I don't know, but there's
Right
really something
along
special
with
about that.
Ginger, you were talking about, being able to do that. one of the first conversations I had with my teacher, Red Stripe, he said, we have no powers that you did not at one time have.
Yep.
Okay. There was a time when we adapted to our environment, but we've changed. We stopped adapting to our environment and started adapting our environment to us. We moved indoors.
And we didn't need those skills so
We
much
didn't need that.
anymore.
We didn't need that skill set anymore. No, we
Mhm.
weren't talking ridge stop to ridge stop anymore. We were talking across the fire.
Yep.
So you lose it, you know?
Yeah, because lots of times when people go into survival mode, they'll realize they have skills and they didn't know
Mhm.
before, or they lose someone in their life and they're grieving, and that's when they will come out because they're needed at that time to help the person get through what they're getting through. And that's when lots of times people will realize they have abilities, which shows though that what they're right, we're holding them kind of dormant and asleep because we've made life more comfortable for us, so we don't need them to be used as much.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's exactly right. That's right. But
Also, the
by the
Spanish
same token,
musicians
that means that they're
a whole lot.
available for us to use if we learn how to use them.
yeah, right. I mean, my father was a psychic, and so
Mhm.
he used to teach me a lot of things when I was a little kid, and I think that helped me a lot when the Bigfoot came to the yard. That already know of abilities that could be done. You know, it helped my mind from being blown, I think. But
Yeah. And it does, because you've already had a foundation laid to
Mhm.
help you, to just look at them and know, I totally understand this. You know,
Right.
I
Go with
totally
it.
understand it. And it's
Right.
not this scary, oh my gosh thing
Yeah.
that's happening.
I
It's
Yeah.
think
just what you were brought up believing.
Yeah.
I
'Cause-
think my father was psychic too. At least he always seemed to know what I was up to.
or the
Oh,
eyes and back of their head. But
yes.
my father, the last thing he was trying to teach me was levitation. He went like into this really big, strong stuff. I mean, he was teaching me telekinesis when I was 8 years old, and how to move a pencil with my mind. And by the time I was 10, I could slide a hairbrush with my mind. And so, and then as I got older, I got out of it because for one thing, I got judged as evil.
Yeah.
And because of my abilities. And so I walked away from it. And when the Bigfoot came back in my life, they reminded me of them. And of course, they never would stay away completely, but I was not trying to use them and practice them. And when the Bigfoot came into my life, it like freed me because I felt like I could be myself around them and I could use my abilities again, that I had been born with. And so it was like I had this secret I could share with them that I couldn't talk to with anybody else. And then I met you guys. We're all psychic, and I talked to you about it again. But I had a whole period of my life where I tried to keep it quiet and hide it.
Yeah.
And it was the Bigfoot that allowed me to that brought me a family of people like me where I could share again.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Were
So
you
what else?
there, Ginger? Were you there the year that, I can't even remember what year it was, there in Georgia? There were 18 of us, I think, at the camp out. Sam, you may have been there too, and it may have all been the same year that everything happened. But we had walked down the trail where Keith would walk a lot, and we had walked up in there, and they where we would make a turn and we looked off just, I think, to the west of us. There were several there with their eye shine. And
Yeah.
they stayed there for a long time, all of us watching that and seeing it. And you would see an eye shine, and then it would move and there would be an eye shine over, but there were multiple of them doing it at the same time, and we were all there just, like, oh wow, this is cool. And we stayed for quite a while, and they
Yep.
just continued on.
Yeah,
The
I
eye
think
shine is so beautiful too. And so many people don't know
Yeah.
the Bigfoot make eye shine in the Bigfoot world.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me. I'm always just hearing about it. It's like, whoa, whoa, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Can you pull up that picture, Brian, of the eye shine I gave you?
Absolutely. I just wanted to say,
It's a good
it's
time
funny.
for it.
The guys up, unless they just don't do it for me very much. The guys up here, I don't see eye shine very much. Matter
I
of
don't
fact,
see it
I've-
here either.
I only,
don't
I've
as a
only
matter of
seen it once on the West Coast.
As a matter of fact, I only seen it once, and I was at a camp out, and this is once again speaks to them reading your mind or whatever. I only saw it once, and at one of my campouts I host, and I said, it's funny, I never see eye shine. As soon as I said that, I looked off into the woods and I saw eye shine. But that's
Maybe
the
that's
only
why so many people don't know about it then, is because the
Yeah.
biggies don't do eye shine a lot in other places.
No, they don't.
That's
I've been,
that's the
They
only
do
time
in Georgia.
that's the
Yeah.
only time I saw it. But anyway, I wanted to ask, will I find that picture? I was going to ask you, you didn't seem like you were scared or uneasy or whatever right from the beginning, and I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth or whatever. Maybe this isn't the case with you, but I think it's because we have a subconscious knowing that we knew them or whatever. Like I was never scared either, and I had some pretty wild things happen one in particular when I was a kid. But I just felt, I remember thinking subconsciously I knew who it was and what it was, and so it didn't scare me. So do you think, what do you think was it about you that because
That
most
very
people would
well
be
could be part of it. And I didn't realize that until like the last year or so. I've had that thought also exactly the same as you. But now, one time Thom said I've never came to him with questions. He's wrong. That was the main question I came to him about. And that was the only question I came to him about. It confused me when the bigs came to my yard that I wasn't scared. It confused the heck out of me, because when I got into the Bigfoot world, I started, hearing all these people that were so scared. And I didn't understand, because in my yard, I had walked up to two of them in arm's length. And I didn't understand why I had no fear. And so, Thom, if you look back, I used to ask you about that. I used to ask Thom, why didn't I have fear? Because I should have had fear standing in front of two beings, an arm's length, that were different than me if I didn't know them. Or I didn't know anything about them. I wasn't watching the Bigfoot shows, and I wasn't in the Bigfoot groups yet. I hadn't met Thom and Arla yet. I didn't know anybody to talk to about it. And I had no fear standing in arm's length, two of them. And that confused the heck out of me when I came in the Bigfoot world and started hearing people scared. And so I kept asking Thom, why wasn't I scared? Why wasn't I scared? And he said they could put the energy of peace out.
Mhm.
And
that's true.
And I do think that's true, but I think there's more than one realization. I think it's also what you're talking about. Maybe we've had a past relationship, maybe a past life relationship.
Yeah.
And maybe even an ancestral relationship. Because, when that Bigfoot came to our yard that one night, my dad went out the next day looking for prints. So I'm not sure he didn't have a bunch of encounters when he was a kid in the woods, because he lived in the woods growing up. And it could be ancestral, it could be the blood, it could be past lives, and it could be them putting out peace. So it's kind of like when we look at a glyph or a structure, people will ask you what is the meaning of it, but as we know, there can be more than one meaning. Hardly anything in life has just one meaning. So I kind of think that's the same with the not being scared thing. There may be more than one meaning to that.
Yeah. I like what you said about the energy too, because Well, like I said, I don't think I've ever really been scared, but I've heard a lot of experiences where people were scared, like friends of mine or whatever, and they will send you out an energy. It just feels, it's just like you feel the love, you feel the energy, and you just can't be scared. They just take it right away. So yeah,
Yeah, now I've had ones where I was scared though, so I had to be honest. I had, but at those times in the beginning, I was not. And to stand in front of two in arm's length all by myself and feel no fear, I had to question that one. You know? But
Yeah.
I did start feeling fear when they started bluff charging me.
Yeah.
That was when I first felt fear. And I didn't, it wasn't right at first. At first, I thought they were just playing with me. And when they bluff charged me, I just thought they were happy to see me. And I would throw my arms up and they'd go, "Oh, you're happy to see me." I didn't know what bluff charging was. Like I said, I wasn't in the Bigfoot world, and I wasn't watching the Bigfoot shows or nothing. So I'd never heard of bluff charging, And I think when I got in the Bigfoot world and I heard the word bluff charging is when I figured out that's what was going on, But they were bluff charging me, and I was reacting good at first and thought they were happy to see me. And then one night I was tired, and it scared me. And then the next night it did it again, but it felt like the energy was different too. And so I think then, because I responded the way I did at first, like, "Oh, you're happy to see me," I think they started testing me, to
Yeah, well,
see
yeah.
if I could handle fear.
Well, yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense perfectly with me, because I think that, and that may not be the only reason why they do that, but I know that they will test your mettle, because they from my experience, they won't work with you beyond your fear threshold or barrier.
Yeah,
So they'll
that's what
test
I've heard.
exactly where you're at or whatever, and determine, like, although, when you really think of their abilities, they already know, but so
Yeah,
it's kind of like a parrot. It's kind of like, oh,
Oh, you asked me how else do I know the telepath? Here's a good one. One time, I heard the bipedal walking on the roof of my house, and it
Yeah.
was really loud. You know how big and loud the bipedal walking can be. And I went from room to room in my house, all the way across the house, and that Bigfoot was walking right above me on the roof. Now, how could it know where I was when it's on the roof? And let me tell you, it wasn't walking behind me like I'd go in the bedroom. It wasn't walking behind me on the roof. It was walking with me. I took a step, it took a step, and it was on the roof, and I'm down below. And no matter where I went in the house, it stayed right above me.
Wow, that's cool. I got that picture ready. I got that picture ready to go if you want to look
Okay.
at it. Okay. There we go. Well, let me just hang on a second.
I can see it.
Hold on a second. I got to get rid of all this other stuff. All these chat things. Just give me a second. Jeez, I got about 20 chats open.
No rush.
Okay. Okay. We'll try that again. Oh, of course, now I lost the picture. Just give me a second. Just say something for
Talk among yourselves.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yep.
Sam, how you been? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I lost my voice. Can you tell?
Yeah, it's fine though. Arla, you were talking
Virginia.
about that night we went down the trail.
Yeah.
Was that the night that we saw the one do the strobe light with its eyes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've got a photo. I've not shared it publicly. It's actually a FLIR photo, but it's pretty cool when you talk about that third eye area and the light through the pineal gland, and that is one of the things. They are connected to their heart. And that photo is FLIR, and that light is right there in that area, and you can see it in that FLIR. It's just extremely bright. And I had someone that knows photography and how things happen when you do those things, and that light stayed in every different color of the photo. In other words, the photos were different colors, I guess, to make it easier to see. And that stayed true. It stayed that exactly bright white light. And that was from Al Collar, who is making his presence very well known around here now in a totally different way. So, but this is awesome, Ginger.
Oh, thank you. And this is from the place we went camping at. That's where I got the eye shine photo. Paul and I had went walking there this spring, and part of me walking right now is getting my health back from my back surgery. And so we were hiking in the very back because it would be a little more challenging for me, and I felt up to the challenge. And we had Sam used to walk back there with Paul and I all the time when he lived here in Georgia. And we had like 5 encounters that night. It was probably the same 2 Bigfoot following us around, because I doubt we ran into, all separate ones each 5 times. But that I wonder sometimes also if the ones from that used to come in our yard are out there now. And but because maybe that's why I'm getting approached. Maybe it's ones that are already familiar with me. But so this is one that came up, and it was letting us videotape it. And this is a screenshot from the video. But I thought it was interesting how one eye looks bigger than the other. And it's at an angle too. But notice it's real bright. And I think it's good to put this out. So many people in the Bigfoot world are not aware of the eye shine. Like you said, they don't make it everywhere. But where they do make it, people may be seeing it and have no idea that they are, because they're not aware of it. So I think it's good to put out the eye shine photos to let people know, and then come in different colors. Like I said earlier, I saw one time that was blue that changed to green in front of me. And like Sam was saying, he saw a bunch of green eye shine. So they don't have to look white like this. And this one, you can see the white band that goes from one eye to the other, like I was describing on the Bigfoot that Sam and I saw together, that had a white band going from one eyebrow, not elbow, one eyebrow to the other. And you can see that in this photo. So it's the light, I would say, Arla, admitting.
Yeah, it's just the connection of everything. And that's one of the things that they do when they're doing this is it's an assessment. And it's a connection to the person that is looking at this. They can literally scan us with that eye shine. So it's more than just, and bioluminescence doesn't even describe what this is. This is not like bioluminescence, and that's one of the big contention in the Bigfoot world is no animal like that does this or whatever. Well, no, they're not doing bioluminescence. It's something totally different. It is energetic and vibratory. And so when they, and it's an attention getter for sure. It will stop you and you'll go, yeah, what was that? Did you see that?
Yeah.
How is that there? There's nobody back in there. And that's like when they have the really big heart light that just comes out so big. Sometimes when you first see that, it looks like someone's coming with a giant powered light, like a spotlight.
Yes.
as it starts coming closer and closer and closer. Because I
Yeah.
know several times, we would see that there in Georgia. And as it got closer, it was like, that's not a person,
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
person, but not like us as a person.
Well, like I said,
So,
that one time in Georgia, we saw those lights going like this. And, my husband said, is that Boy Scouts with flashlights? You know how the
yep,
Bigfoot were like waved back
yep,
and forth. And then all of a sudden it disappears and we see two Bigfoot in front of us. So,
yep,
yeah. And, I think lots of times we can think of them as street lights, flashlights, and everything. So it's kind of good to get the word out about the eye shine so people know what they're seeing
I
yeah.
and
think
know what
that,
they're looking at.
I think those colors change with mood too.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if
Well, we s-
if they keep increasing their light, they can turn their whole body into light, and they can
Yes.
then you're looking at a big ball of light,
Yes, you
or they
are.
can just
Definitely.
disappear
I've
and they're
seen
not be in
them.
this realm anymore.
I've seen them in all light form before in my yard.
Yeah.
I went in the backyard again one night, and there's this white storage shed in the neighbor's backyard diagonal from us. And I was looking at the white storage shed, and I thought, why can I see that at night? Because usually I can't even see it at night, even though it's white. And then all of a sudden I could see there was a white being standing in front of it. And I'm guessing it's the Bigfoot because that's what we had in the yard at the time. And it had its arms out straight, like the Michelangelo drawing of a person, and had its arms out straight. And it almost looked like an angel because the white light coming off, like its aura, was so bright, it almost made it look like it had wings. And its entire body was just pure white light.
Yeah, we have actually seen what look like flashlights and obviously orbs and whatever in the woods. So I guess I have seen variations of this, but That's a
I
great
had
picture.
a bunch of orbs followed me home the other night from the woods.
Yeah.
And I wondered if some of them could have been Bigfoot.
Yeah.
oh, for sure. Well, for sure, could have been. Yeah. Did you want to move on to other pictures, or do you want to keep?
Whatever you want to do, it's your show.
I was
And,
going to ask you. I was going to ask you. So, do you consider the Sasquatch people to be family, and what's your relationship with them? How would you describe your
I
relationship?
think they
right
have
now?
had past relationships with my bloodline, to be honest. And because of the connection I had with them right away, it just seemed too strange that there wasn't fear and that I was having so much encounters and sightings so quickly right away. It's like they stormed me with them,
Mhm.
And I just come out of my porch and they start talking to me out loud, going ooh ooh ah ooh, and it was like almost an every night thing. And so I wondered, why are they doing this to me? So I kind of felt like there must have been a past connection in my bloodline or something. And what was the question again? I forgot now.
Friends
What
or
is your
family? Are you friends or family?
Oh, I feel like they are family and friends, actually.
Yeah.
But
and what is your relationship with them? That was the other part.
they are family and friends to me. Yeah. Like if
Okay.
I'm
Well,
lonely, I talk to them. If I need help, I talk to them. So they are family and friends to me.
okay. I'll bring up some more pictures. Well, I mean, what I meant actually, is it like a teacher-student kind of relationship? Is
Oh,
that
I definitely had a lot of teaching going on, but
yeah. Well, I mean, from day one, right? With the
yeah,
mics, with the
right,
telepathy
the
thing, yeah.
howling. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of teacher. I mean, I've never had one come up to me and say it was my teacher, but I've definitely had a ton of teaching. But I believe they all can teach you something.
I like what you said. I like what you said about because my clan leader Arias said that he called me family and whatever, but and I think it's specific and in general, like we're all family, we're all one, all connected, we're all family. But I think there was specific to myself and him and his clan or whatever. And I would say that it probably is that would apply to you and all of us.
Oh, RE's called you a lot more than family.
You wanna you want to get
And they have been there for me in really hard, bad times too. When I felt like I had no one, I've seen the Bigfoot standing in front of me with their eye shine on. And
right,
so
because they
they've
show up
always
when
been
your
there for
heart
me.
needs it. Yeah, they show
Yeah.
up when you need it. They
Mhm.
always show their support.
Uh-huh.
When my mother
Yeah.
died, they were right there.
Yeah.
Like just they're so compassionate and loving. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It seems like when I'm going through really hard times, that's when I have the most encounters. You know?
And that isn't
Yeah.
coincidence.
absolutely
Mhm.
not. So what are we looking at here?
Let's see. Oh, that was when we went out this last weekend on a night walk, night hike. It's a hike for me because it's hard still for me. But and that's this is one of the lights and orbs that we were seeing that night. I had seen some fly by, so I started filming, and that was one of them that we saw. And then since I got home that night, now I've been having orbs fly around in the house every night.
We
And
got a video. We got a video of that coming up too.
okay.
But did you want to go on more with this
Yep,
picture?
well, something else that neat happened that night. I bring little tiny LED lights with me so I don't get lost on the trail, because that's happened to me before, and that's not fun to get lost at night. Especially you can get turned around after an encounter that's real exciting. It's easy to get turned around. So I have tiny little LED lights now that I put on the path. And we were watching that night, watching one, and when it got up and moved, the LED light did. I don't know what he did, but
How big is this? How big is this shape here?
it was pretty big. Let's see. Let me see if I could zoom in.
I mean, it
Um,
looks like the size of maybe a kitchen garbage can or something.
That's probably correct. Exactly. Yeah.
That's like not a normal orb. That's for sure. That's gigantic.
Yeah. And some of the ones in my house have been pretty big too. So I have wondered if some biggies followed me home and went in orb form like we were saying they could do. I believe we can all go in orb form. And in fact, I wonder sometimes when I astral project if I go in orb form, because I can see myself flying up above and not on the ground. So I wonder.
And
sometimes.
orbs are just a vibrational change. That's what they are. When we change our vibrations,
Mhm.
then, and it's the same for the Sasquatch people. I mean, they adjust their vibrations and go right into this. I mean, I've seen a video and actually seen it where they came in as a big orb, and then you hear them and you see the orb just dissipate, but then you hear them walking and moving around. And I even saw a video of that very same thing happening. So yeah, and that's one of the things that we are told that we can do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do
And
you know how
Go ahead,
when
Bob.
do you know how when like RE and RS and what's your guy's name again, Arla?
Kashima.
Kashima. We know that they can have their consciousness in a bunch of different places at once.
Mhm.
And that's why one of the reasons, well, I don't know if that's exactly the same thing, but it might be one explanation how we can feel them, we can be talking about them, and we can feel them with us
Yes.
in the specific location that we're at. I actually, and I talked about this before, so I won't get into it, but it's very important, is that I saw a Sasquatch bring its consciousness in a bunch of orbs from different points of consciousness and form into one being.
Yes.
So that was kind of like a really, that was a huge lesson for me, that that these, and I'm getting energy saying it, that these amazing evolved teachers and people can, like they can be here, there, and everywhere, and then bring themselves together into one being or whatever. So that's really speaks to their abilities.
Hey, Brian, can you enlarge this image very much? Is there any zoom in? Yeah, I was just looking at it. This thing's loaded with colors and shapes.
It's really
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, it's got purple.
And if
pink,
you
and
think about your chakras, it's got like every chakra color in there lit up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's revealing.
it's got greens and
Yellows
pinks.
and
Orange,
pinks
purple,
and-
blue.
yeah,
Look,
the whole spectrum's there.
yeah.
That's a good observation, Tink.
Yeah.
I call you Tink? Are
Yes.
we
I
friends
respond
now
to
that I
Tink.
call you Tink?
I respond to Tinker.
Tinker or not Tink?
Both.
Both.
Mhm.
Okay. But that's a good observation you made there. And it makes sense too, because I mean, you would imagine they would have all the chakras too. And I guess, is there more chakras than 7 that we're not aware of?
Yes, there
Yeah,
are.
there are.
There
Yep.
are.
The
That's what I thought,
chakras
yeah.
were originally started from the elements. So the elements of earth, air, wind, or earth, air, fire, water, and of course ether. And they're also the spectrums of the colors of the
Yep.
of
Yeah.
the light in a rainbow. But the energy centers in humans, there's more, like
What
There's
are we looking at here?
another beautiful example
It's
of
the
the
same
color
night.
spectrum.
Yeah, same night. It was they just all of a sudden a bunch of orbs started appearing. It's just last weekend. And once again, yeah, this is one with a bunch of colors.
you
Yeah.
got
Wow.
blue, with kind of a yellow in the middle with a red, and
Pink,
the other side
white,
is green.
Mm-hmm.
green, yeah.
So I thought that
Interesting.
was really interesting. I get fairy encounters, but these are not what I see when I see fairies. I mean, doesn't mean it can't be another kind of fairy though. But
I love your fairy photo. Do you have any fairy photos today?
I didn't send them to Brian, but I'm gonna go to my Fairy Hill Friday night with a friend. So I'll see if I can get some. If I get some, I'll post them in your group for you if you want.
Well,
Yeah.
you could always, I can get them up fast if you,
Okay.
put them in,
You
if you put them in my messenger, I can bring them up if you
You
want
and
to do
Penny
I'll see
that.
if I can
Rummel.
find you some.
Penny
Well,
Rummel's
I-
got all kind of orbs. When she goes, she just walks out in the backyard and they just start to
Yeah.
fly to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're everywhere now. And it just amazes me how many people are posting all this really cool stuff that's been happening for some. And now they're feeling safer to post. And, and
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me with Pork and Beans. It's a public group, but if your part of being public is to come in there and create a problem, you probably will be helped to the door. So, because it needs to be a place. And there are several other groups on Facebook that are what I consider safe or respectful groups where you just do not tolerate people being disrespectful.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, we don't want to have judgment in the group, but we also have to protect what we have in the group, because there's
Yeah.
very few groups like this where you can share and not have the fear of being ridiculed and stuff like that. So,
This
You know,
group
I
is
know-
very open.
yeah, I know I have a friend, Laurel Lehman. I'll have to see if she'll send me some videos, but she's got videos of fairies flying in and out of like trees and stuff, and you can even see the little wings and everything on them. It's
Yep.
amazing.
That was the first thing I saw. I went to where we were all camping, and Paul and I were walking down trail one night, and I saw this bright white light coming down the hill at us. And at first I thought maybe it was Bigfoot eye shine, and then I noticed there was nothing attached to it and there wasn't another eye. So I didn't know what it was, and it kept coming straight at us. And then it turned and it went into a hole in a tree, and it met up with another one, and it lit up and came out of the hole, and it flew right over my head.
Yeah, that's similar to what she has too. She has the same kind of stuff. So this is another example of an interesting orb or some kind of light thing, right?
Yes, that's another orb that just happened. I was just giving you recent stuff that happened this last weekend because I couldn't remember what I gave you from the last show. So
Did you want to put some? I mean, we can have somebody else talking or whatever for a bit. I mean, if you want to share some fairy stuff, I mean, I can take it from the messenger and put it up pretty quick.
Okay, sure. I can find something real quick. I'm on my Facebook page. I'm gonna pull some up for you.
Okay, can you talk and do it at the same time?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Now,
Oh,
Tinker
wow, you
can
can-
do anything and talk.
I can't do that. I can't rub my belly and pat my head at the same. You're talented.
The fairies are the reason that Thom named Ginger Tink.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I figured
right.
that. I figured that out. Yeah, I figured that had
Yeah.
Tinkerbell, right?
Yes,
Yep.
because I play with the fairies.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a friend that's getting ready to have surgery, and that is her request before surgery is that I take her to see the fairies. So this weekend, I'm going, and here you come for pictures, Brian. There you go.
Mhm.
Fairy pictures.
Oh, okay. You know what? While you're doing that, I'm going to take the other pictures off because it kind
Okay.
of looks weird. It kind of looks weird.
Okay.
Okay, so I will. You guys have a discussion amongst yourself, and I know because this.
Ginger, Penny Rumble asked if you see them with your eyes at night or only after you take a picture with a camera.
That's a really good question because, like the orbs that Penny and I are picking up, we're picking up mainly from the camera. The fairies that I see, I'm picking up with my own eyes, and then I ask permission if I can record them and take pictures.
So you do see them, and
Yeah,
what
you can
what
see
you
these
see
ones.
is pretty close to what the camera catches.
Yes, and there's two different kinds out there at the fairy hill I go to. There's one I can't pick up on a camera, and it's the friendliest one, and it's really, really, really tiny. Actually, I've got one video, I think, one time of them. They're real super, super tiny, but they're extremely friendly. You can hold out your hand and they'll fly up to your hand. And like I took our friend Keith out there one night. And Thom laughed because he knows about this. And the I had been gifting the fairies for 3 nights in a row, so they would show up good. And so that night when we came, they were all excited. And the little ones came up too, and they all sat all around Keith's chair, a bunch of little tiny ones, and they're just so friendly. They do that, and I'm hoping they'll show up Friday night because this person's bringing their daughter, and I thought that would be a sweet thing for a daughter. But yeah, these ones are real friendly, and once you get to know them, you can just hold out your hand and they'll fly right up to you and everything. But they're
The next morning after that incident, he got a hold of me. I was out with Ginger last night. He said, "What do you know about fairies?" I said, "Absolutely nothing other than what Ginger has taught me. I was with her last night and I don't believe what I saw."
Ginger,
Yeah?
these are really, really tiny. They're thumbnail size. They're not going to show up.
Okay.
They're too small. Do you have them in a different? You have them in a different format?
I was
Like these are extremely tiny.
Gotcha. All righty. Let me see if I can help.
When they get saved to a phone, they go to really small for phones.
So what do you know about?
And then to go from the phone to a computer, they look like postage stamps.
Right,
So
they're small anyhow, so I had to zoom in a lot when I took the photo. So let me.
But these are like they're showing up like about a 20th or 30th of the size of the other ones.
Tell me how
like
that one
tiny.
shows up, Brian. I just sent you another one.
Okay, as I'm looking at this, why don't you tell us what you know about fairies? We know they're elementals, but you want to talk about fairies for a bit? Well, keep the flow going?
Well, fairies factor into a lot of indigenous people stories around the world, not, just here. You can read about fairies in, oh my gosh, different people. I mean, your Scottish people, Irish, all the way to the Cherokee talk about the fairies and things. They've always been a part of my life and have interacted with me for years. And some of you have heard the recording I have of one talking to me. But it's not a recording that I've ever put out for public scrutiny, not because I don't think it's real, because had a spectrogram done on it, but it's like I'm not going to have that special thing be subject to disrespect. And until I'm told I can put it out publicly, I'm not going to. And I have shared it. They are part of us as much as we are a part of them. And when we get over ourselves and realize that these are actually beings that are out there, they're and so willing to connect with us. And if your heart's open, it's like it's a beacon out there to so many things that are here in our world. And, I just tell people too, and like Ginger, you just go out and you be respectful. And one of the things about Ginger is just her whole personality.
Yeah.
It's fun and light and busy and laughing and flitting from this to that to that.
Yeah.
And that's very much
I
fairy like.
I tell people Ginger would make coffee nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has like a very childlike innocence
Yeah.
energy.
Mm.
And I've
Yes,
always
yes.
joked about it. I tell people like, if you're going to go out in the woods, you just have to carry like the motto of like, what would Ginger do?
Yeah.
Because
WWGD.
yep, exactly.
So I'm not childish, am I, Tom?
Huh?
I'm not childish myself, am I?
No.
And what is it that Ari calls you, Todd?
The white-haired boy.
And I think the emphasis is on boy.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm very much like Ginger in that regard. So there was a commonality there, is what my
Yeah.
point was. Yeah.
And there is for most people who have repeated contact with all of these beings that are out there. That's what you see in them.
Yeah.
That's
Well, here
cool.
we go. This one turned out good, Ginger.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You're all muted, Ginger.
I think she muted herself.
I did, sorry. Yeah, I like this one. You can see its head and its arms up. Yeah, I should mute myself more often. But and
Well, not on this show. Just maybe in other times.
so I like this one a lot because you can see the shape of its body and
Yep.
It was real tiny. I had to do a lot of cropping and zooming in to get so we could see it, But yeah, these are ones that I can see with my own eyes. However, I do believe the fairies go into another dimension too, and that you can see them through meditation and other ways also.
This looks like two to me. It looks like one standing and the other one is sort of flying with wings or something.
It could be. I'm not an expert. I just know I thought that was the bottom of its body, like a skirt or something with
Yeah, like
legs.
to me, this right here is one, and then this one here is another one.
It very well could be. I
And
took it
I'm
as
not
one
really
whole
sure
one.
whether this one's like fired up and this one, it could be the same one. That's a projection, but anyway, it's fantastic.
I see it as
I
one, but
appreciate
you might be right. You
I
might be right.
appreciate your other view because I wouldn't have thought of that otherwise. Yeah, it absolutely could be.
Yeah, it could be one, could be two. But I see it like you do, Ginger. I see it as one, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Mhm.
I've
I'm not
seen
close.
them dressed in different things. They don't always appear in the same way. I've seen them, and the little people too would wear flowy things that would move when they were doing things, and that's what this looks like to me. But there again, all we're doing is looking at it and trying to understand, what it is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and understanding, that's the big deal. I mean, I was having all these encounters in the yard. I didn't understand what the heck was going on. Like I said, I was going through a lot of lessons. It was actually when I got in the Bigfoot world that it made sense when I heard people tell their stories. I could put it with something that happened to me. Like, when I heard the word bluff charging the first time, then and testing, then I realized that's what I went through was
Yeah.
bluff charging and testing. You know what I mean? So sometimes the Bigfoot world helps put things together for you. In fact, the other day I shared something about going through what I thought was into another dimension and through some portals. And Arla helped explain it better for me. I went through energetic doors. I had walked under some structures that were in our yard, and I came to some land that I couldn't find unless I walked under those structures. And so I was thinking of portals or another dimension, and she explained it as energetic doors. So sometimes it helps to hear other people's views because it helps you understand what you've seen or gone through or experienced.
What
Yeah.
are your guys? What are your guys' thoughts on no, the word escape. Is it interdimensionals or elementals? I'm sorry. Are they is that simply that they're interdimensional, or what does elementals mean to you guys?
Go ahead, Ginger.
Well, to me, it means they're of the elements of the earth. They're part of this earth, elementals. They're made of elements. And well, we are too, though. We're just in another form. But but I think of elements as earth, air, wind, fire, and I think of them as part of the earth.
Yeah.
So the Sasquatch would fall into that too.
Yeah,
I don't see why we
they
don't
would.
either.
And they can come
Why
in all
shouldn't
different
we?
sizes. Like there's an elemental that is reported around the world. That's called the Lady of the Lake, and there's also sprites that come up out of the lake. So there's a lot of, and then you can talk to a mountain and have the old man of the mountain, and every mountain
Hey
has
there.
this presence.
Be
Yeah.
careful about talking about old man in the mountain.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Absolutely.
Did you want to get into some more pictures? Because we can always we
Sure.
keep chatting on the other side of the pictures too, right?
Whatever. Let's just go with the flow. Sure, throw up another picture.
Oh, you should be hosting your own show. You're amazing. You know how to move it along pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, I got my
Okay,
wife's thing up
that's
again.
all
Hang
right.
on a
That's the
minute.
same night.
I'll cover
that-
her up. There you go.
That's
Go ahead.
fine. That's the same night. That was the spirit activity. Now we had started seeing this with our own eyes, which is why I thought to start filming for orbs. I was seeing energy go by slightly, and I can see the orbs in my house slightly, but not like I can on camera. And so I started taking pictures and filming, and I got all these spirits in the air, and those orbs we had just seen, like the one with the rainbow colors, those two we just saw, this is the same night. And I think these are spirits.
Or yeah, well, I mean, I've seen RE travel in mist form or appear out of a mist, and
I
I've
think it
also
could be
seen them
any
I've also seen them in orb form, so it could be that too, right?
Absolutely. And like I said, I think we can all do that. And I think every being can do that.
Yeah, they can. We're the ones that have a problem with accepting this as possible. And so man holds himself back by staying in that box, you know.
Mhm.
Do you think, Arla, that it's just the fact that we don't believe that it's possible, or
Well,
a large part of it?
a lot. You mean not being able to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, you better believe you can do it. You know, that's the whole thing, is opening that heart, because it's done through your heart. And I know I talk about the heart all the time, but um, opening that heart, or what I call your heart eyes, opens you to a whole world that's right there beside us. And
Yeah.
for whatever reason, cameras now have just begun to open people's eyes, and hopefully
Right.
then open their heart.
The new
Uh,
cell phones can pick up this stuff.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's life is so amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my
It is
gosh.
fascinating, amazing, and that's the thing. It's amazing and fascinating, and it gives you something else to live for when you find this amazing beauty, and that's so fascinating, to that you didn't know was there. One time we had my husband's father moved in with us. He was getting older, and he saw eye shine in the backyard, and it gave him something to live for. Every night he was on our porch looking for eye shine. And then the fairies came up and greeted us one night too, and he got to see that. But he was around 90 years old. And so, he couldn't get around good. And that just made his night to just sit on the porch and get to have these encounters. It's so helpful for people. Um,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
if we had been scared of him, it probably would have gone a different direction. But since he was with us and we found it fascinating, that's kind of the approach he took towards it too.
Yep.
Yeah. I like what you said, Arla, about the heart and the potential and the secrets in the heart, because Mr. Beans had a Sasquatch reach right into his chest and was working his heart and his breathing or whatever. And then he looks down and one of his legs is invisible. So that kind of speaks to that directly, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what the energy that you increase is the energy of your heart.
Yep.
And then that
Yeah.
glows out and fills up your whole body. And then they just pretty much, it's like astral projection or something. They just decide to be invisible, or they decide to go somewhere, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
Their frequency raises. Our frequency raises too when we open our hearts.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it
hope I'm not
does.
giving away. I hope I'm not giving away any of your secrets, Arla. And if you don't want to
Secrets.
talk about it, don't. But I know that, like you can go. I don't know if you actually go there, or if you just project. I don't. But you can actually, if somebody's in trouble or something, and a loved one or whatever, you can be right there looking in on them. And I know you have that ability. So how is that done? Or do you want to talk about that?
It's some people would say it's remote viewing, but it's really not remote viewing. It's just that connection. When you have a heart connection with someone and you can do anything. I mean, Reiki shows you that. You can do long distance Reiki and it works just as good as
Yep.
if you are right there doing it
Right.
yourself.
Or
Yeah.
healing.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, well, that is healing. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, and everybody can do that. I've done it forever. So, and sometimes I know things I wished I didn't know that when trying to help somebody. And sometimes it gets like a little freaky for some people, like the photo that I shared with you guys when in one of my medium forms, when I become a medium. Uh, but to me, it's a natural thing, and it doesn't make me special. It just makes me open to it. Everybody can do this. Everybody can make that connection, and that's part. It's just opening your
Mhm.
heart and connecting with everything. If people would just go to their happy place, wherever that is, for so many of us, that's in the woods, because that's where we like to be. We're happy no matter if something happens or doesn't happen. But go there and focus on your heart and
Yeah.
see that heart and go into that heart and then see that heart radiating out that love. And if sometimes when you do that, one of the cleansing things that happens is you might have someone brought to you in that space, not physically, but in that space, someone you have a problem with or someone that's hurt you. And so what you do is you continue that heart work and you send them all the love and light that you can. And you release all that. And when you release all that, that heart grows even more. And it becomes easier and easier and easier to send that love out.
Yeah. Well, one of the things with healing too that I practice and I was told, a lot of it was just instinctive or whatever, is when you send a disease or something negative out of a person, you send it out with love.
Mhm.
Well, you don't want to throw out something negative out of someone into the atmosphere for someone else to pick up. So if you send it love, that changes the energy of it.
Yes, it does.
So nobody else can pick it up.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I like that.
Yeah.
So, Arla, and then once again, I'm probably getting into things you may, I don't know if you guys want to share this or not, but I think you probably, if you don't, you can just say, Todd, yeah. But whatever, one time, and maybe Thom can talk about this too. And then I wanted to ask Tank some of the things, something specific, but and you and Thom and Ma can talk about this. One time Thom was in had a health crisis, and all of a sudden you're on the phone. Thom, what's going on? So how did that go down? How did that go down? And how did that realization come to you? You just
I was having a heart problem, and I had to call the paramedics. And I was on the gurney headed out with the paramedics there, and my phone rings, and it's Arla. What's wrong with you, and who are those people there?
That's that connection. And that connection isn't just between Thom and I. That's a universal connection.
Sure.
You know, yes, you become especially connected to some people. But then, you know, Red Stripe was always a good tattler on Thom. He never had a problem telling
I
me
couldn't
stuff.
get away with anything.
So, and I know Ginger, she can't even talk about that, being connected to somebody, and you know immediately that you need to, and I'm sure all of you can.
Yeah.
You just have that knowing that something's going on, and, you know, if you can't get to that person, you begin to mitigate or put love around
You do
that that's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I remember one time I started putting protection around Jonathan. I just felt funny. And then I called him, and he was driving, and it said a ladder had just came out of the truck in front of him, and none of it hit him.
Wow. Yeah. You know, Thom, I was sick and I was laughing about you saying the tattler. I got a big tattletale guy up here too. Dealing with me, you know?
You do. The difference is he blames me for when you screw up. At that stage, yes.
I think it's much better now. That was in the early days, right? But yeah, that's hilarious. So I was going to say, so to Ginger, I was going to ask you, you know, you had some abilities when you were younger that you tried to turn off or whatever. But I think that when we have a deep relationship with the Sasquatch people, they start opening up abilities and the possibilities of possible future abilities or potential that we might have. So, and I've experienced that. So what are some
Me
of the
too.
things that they've reawakened in you since your
Remote viewing
relationship
is
with them?
one. Remote viewing is one that's been awakened in me. There were ones I didn't know that my dad didn't teach me everything when I was a kid. So I've definitely learned a lot of new things. You know, he didn't teach me grounding and protection. I've learned that since I've been in the Bigfoot world. He went right straight to the big stuff. And let's do telekinesis, okay? But so you know, so I learned a lot of stuff. I do remote viewing for friends when they've lost objects. Um, and I remove negative energies from people when they've got a sickness or problem sometimes. And now I do soul retrievals and journey. And I didn't do any of this stuff before I met the Bigfoot. Um, I before I met the Bigfoot, I was using my clear knowing a lot, but that's just something that just comes out whether I try to use it or not. But
Yeah.
so
I'm gonna have to say goodbye for a minute, at least.
love you.
It's lunchtime here, so I've got to gird up my loins and go face
Yep.
it like a man.
Mhm.
And
Come on.
I'll try
We'll
to
probably
get
be on
back.
for a while. We'll probably be on for a little bit.
I'll be back
So
as soon as I
so
can.
so try to
Wish-
come back. Yeah.
Wish me luck.
Hey, Sam.
Wish me
Yeah,
luck.
yeah. We're praying for
Lots
you.
and lots of luck.
So Sloppy Joe,
Yo,
or I guess it's actually Sam Chandler, but we like to fool around with the name. How about, we haven't talked to you today too much. So how about you? Same question for you that I gave Ginger.
what's that? The
What have the Sasquatch awakened in you as far as abilities or, you know?
shit.
So.
What haven't they awoken in me?
Good question.
I mean, honestly, like they've reconnected me to my true self. Like that, like Ginger was speaking about earlier, where you kind of, when you're a kid and you're still able to be, you know, kind of quirky and learning about yourself, and then when you start to realize like you have certain things that just don't relate to other people, and you kind of have to shut them down for a while. Like
Yeah.
I used to see entities and beings a lot when I was a child, and I kind of have to, and I was very empathic and all that, so I had to shut it down to kind of survive, you know, whatever you want to call it. And when I reconnected with the Sasquatch people, it just opened all that back up for me. So now I'm just more comfortable, and that's one of the lessons that they've worked with me a lot. And like honestly, every time I journey, it gets brought up again, this one thing, and it's just like you just have to stop caring what other people think, and you have to just be yourself. Because there's still things that I'm not 100% comfortable with, like coming out with yet, because I just don't. It's hard to explain, but I mean, I know that there's people that understand what I'm saying, but there's things that I see, things that I experience, and I'm still not 100% comfortable coming out with yet. And so that's something that they're working with me, just being comfortable with who I am. And a lot of it has to do with like, you know, I got kids and a wife and a job and stuff. And if I start talking about some of the things that I see, that, you know, it gets real weird. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I know you've struggled. You've told, and for good reasons. You've told me before that, you know, they want you to speak out more, but it's kind of hard for you, and because of the reasons that you said.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but the biggest thing, going back to the heart, that's the biggest thing that they've reconnected me with, is my heart. And just understanding that that we all reside in our hearts. Like that's our true place that we reside. That's where our inner child is, which is our true self. And like literally, like even in the Vedic scriptures, they talk about it. They talk about the Nihitam Guhayam and the Hridayam, which is the spot in your heart where your Atman lives, like your version of source. your personal Brahman resides in your heart. And when you open that up, you're able to connect with your true self again. And so that's where we all live. That's where we all connect to, because that's our source point. So Sasquatch people also, they connect with us there. So you're just reconnecting with your true self when you're in your heart. And that's probably the biggest thing that they've taught me.
Absolutely. Well, I think that I would agree. Well, I can't agree.
Connecting with
It's
yourself
you,
is
but
a perfect way.
I would agree for me personally that. Yeah. More pictures?
Sure. Let's see more pictures.
Hey, I'm gonna have to step out. I gotta get back to work.
Hey,
Thank you,
but
Sam.
see that perfect timing that I got
It's
you.
always good to have you come
Yeah.
around, Sam.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah, it's great seeing you guys.
Thank you
And
for showing
Brian,
up,
I guess
Sam.
I'm so happy that you're on. More people need to hear you and see you.
Love you.
Love you. Hey, Brian, I guess I'll see you next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Are you gonna come to my camp out this year? I know it's around
I'm
school
trying
time and
to.
stuff.
I'm trying to, man. It's getting so spread out.
Arla's gonna be there.
I know. I'm trying to go to the Blues too, so I got to squeeze all this stuff in.
I just wish somebody would put me just once, as a priority. Everyone said I'm going
I'd
here,
love
so
to
I
go to
can't come
Canada.
there. But hey,
I will.
how about
All right.
give
I'll prioritize
Maureen
you
a
next
bunch of
week.
little love.
well,
Yeah.
maybe
I
you need a
want to,
dog
believe
like
me.
Goldie.
Yeah. I'll prioritize you next week. I'll rub your shoulders and scratch your head and stuff.
Alrighty.
You might get his
Alrighty.
feet kicking.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys.
See ya.
All right,
Thanks for
bye.
coming in. Thanks
Bye.
for coming by.
Love you.
Love you.
Well, I liked what Sam had to say. That was good. Okay, so let's get back to some pictures. Well, once again, oh, wait a minute, where are they? Should be here. Ah, there we go. Okay.
Maybe they went into another dimension.
Okay, so we looked at this one. So here we go. Here we go. Got a Y stick sticking in the ground.
Yeah, now that was the same weekend that we got the spirit activity. I posted this, I call it a ground stick. And because this is a place I go to often that's nearby, and I have a little gifting spot. And they seem to respond a lot near my gifting spot. We had just got here and I'd just been in 3 days before, and that ground stick was not there. And because I would have seen it because it's right by my gifting spot. And so this night, when my husband and I went to go night walking, there it was jammed in right by my gifting spot. And they keep putting ground sticks by my gifting spot. And this was a really big one. So I thought it was cool. To me, it was recognizing that they were already tapped into our mind and knew that we were coming. And, because the ground sticks are my favorite structure. And so
Yeah, they're undeniable. That's
Yep.
undeniable. That's what it is.
That's my very favorite structure, as Arla knows. And because when they were coming to our yard, that's how I learned about structures, was straight from the Bigfoot. And the first ones they taught me about was ground sticks. That's why they're mean so much to me, because we had a trail and we kept walking on it at night. And one night I noticed 2 sticks sticking up in the middle of the trail. And you notice if something's sticking up in the middle of the trail because it's in your way. And I said to Paul, I don't remember these 2 sticks sticking up in the middle of the trail. Well, neither one of us knew about ground sticks then. And so we thought we must just not remember, and we walked on. So the next night we go down the same trail, and now the 2 sticks had grown about 2 feet, but they were in the same place. And I thought, okay, there's no way they grew 2 feet overnight. And then the next night we went down the trail, and now the 2 sticks were taller than me. And they were in the exact same place again. And I knew, there's no way they were growing that. So, and that's when I pulled on it and saw they were just jammed into the ground. And so that was the first structure that the Bigfoot personally taught me that they made, was ground sticks. So ground sticks are special to me. So that's when they seem to recognize me a lot with ground sticks. I get ground sticks.
Awesome. So what do you think? We know that, the Sasquatch can connect with your thoughts telepathically, but my experience has shown me that they they know what you're thinking before you even formulate the thought, sometimes years before even. So what are your thoughts on that? And have you had any experiences that have shown you that?
I believe that to be true, that they can go years before and be waiting. It kind of
Yeah.
seems like that's what happened in my yard, because it was just kind of weird how they just all of a sudden just showed up. I live in the middle of a subdivision. No, I'm not like surrounded by woods, so it's kind of weird they came here in the first place. You know? You know, and I'm not on the edge of the subdivision. I'm smack in the middle of a bunch of houses. So, so I felt like it was totally planned, you know, and I mean, there is some woods around us, but it's mostly homes with trees. And um, I just felt like they were waiting for a time in my life when I would be open to accepting them again. Because, like I said, I had got bashed pretty bad when I was young for my abilities, and I was afraid for people to see them. And the time it came in my life where I was starting to become open to it again. I had just lost a best friend, and when he was dying, it was really, really bad. He was dying of brain cancer, and
Oh,
he was hallucinating a lot, and his mind was really going. And it was happening for months, so it was a lot of chaos. And my mind went into survival mode, and my abilities started popping out big time during that because I went into survival mode with him. And I actually just saw his death and knew the exact day he was going to die weeks before he died. And the doctors hadn't said nothing or anything. And I started calling his
yeah.
friends and said, "You need to go visit Wink because he's going to die on this day." And they all said, "How do you know that?" And I knew it was my abilities coming out. And I was right. He died that day. And in the memorial service, somebody got up on the stage and they went and visited him. And they said, "Ginger told me to visit him. She told me, but I didn't believe her." And you know, I felt bad that that happened. But and that's when my abilities came out really strong again, and I tapped back into them. And so I think it was just a time in my life that was right for the Bigfoot to come.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So
Because
that,
like I said, they'd been in my life when I was a kid already. And I showed one of my friends. I took her in my car and we drove up to my spot where the Bigfoot walked up to me. I was in high school, and sure enough, we rolled down our windows and the Bigfoot walked up to us on both sides of the car, really loud bipedal steps. And she got scared and she got mad at me. She wanted to leave immediately. So then I was afraid to tell anybody else. So it seems like things kept hitting me to close myself up and not knowing anybody to talk to wasn't helping me open up. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. So that's what you did was like precognition.
Yeah.
So I wonder, you know, like with me, Sasquatch have proven to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that they know even a thought or an idea that I am going to come up with years before I even come up with it. You know, they've shown me with the glyphs and whatever in different ways. So I guess that's precognition too, in a sense.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's claircognizance, I guess that would be, which is also like clear knowing. You just know things without, you know, you shouldn't know yet because it hadn't happened yet.
Well, but yeah, and I mean with my experience, they're even setting up stuff that I look back on and I say, oh, that's why they did this, and that's what they meant, and this and that, and it's all. And then when you get to the moment of realization, you said those guys were doing this, and I'm getting energy again. Oh boy, big time. Years before I even formulated the thought or whatever, and it's just like they're leading you along a breadcrumb trail of discovery until you actually get to the point where you recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, and you know what, really, I mean, it was like it was really set up because like the Bigfoot came to our yard, and then all of a sudden a Bigfoot museum opens up in Georgia. So we had a place to go share it with someone and open up to, because wasn't telling anybody, we told one friend and she had encountered our yard. But we went to the museum and we opened up there. And that's how I got to know Arla and everybody, because the owners of the Bigfoot Museum, we had pictures of our structures. We were showing them, we were telling them stories. And they made a phone call to Gail. And that's how I got in the Bigfoot group with Arla and all them. But see, it's like it was set up.
It was. It was.
Not like it was, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was.
I didn't know who Arla was. I didn't know who Bob Gillen was. I didn't know who Thom Cantrall was. And, they just come right before Bigfoot Museum opens up in Georgia that connects me to all of them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've had that kind of experience too with specific things, but it's like they're guiding Arla, they're guiding Thom, they're guiding you, they're guiding the event all to meet at the precise time when the knowledge or the benefit or whatever is going to be realized.
Yeah, they gave me
it's just so intricate. Yeah.
They gave me a family that I could talk to and share things with and learn from, and so I didn't have to stay closed up and secretive all the time.
And that's what you wanted. That's what your heart was asking for.
Yes.
So that you could be Ginger, and people were still going to love you.
Yes.
No matter what.
Because that's all I was. I was just being me.
Go ahead.
That's all I was. I was just being me, and people weren't accepting me. And then I got in this group that accepted me. They were like me. And so the Bigfoot helped me a huge amount.
Yeah. And guess what? Next show you come on, you're going to have a food name. So that's the
my
pinnacle.
name is already a food, just saying. But
so what were you saying, Beans?
I was going to say that, like earlier in the program, I said that they showed me that around 1,000 of the Sasquatch elders are keeping track of over 4 million humans. And for this kind of a thing, who's ready, who needs this and who needs that, and who's ready to take a step. And to me, that's just like when I hear these stories, because it's all real. I've had the same thing. They put things out there, and like they put the all one and no space. And then they explained to me over 2 years, it took them to explain to me all one and no space because they didn't use any words. And I just was like feelings and looking up something and getting into quantum physics and all this kind of stuff. And so it's like, that's, to me, it's all real. They're teaching us and bringing us along. They're got their finger on the pulse of the awakening, especially when it comes to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think there's as many stories about that. I mean, how many stories have you ever watched videos and the people say, "Oh yeah, I had a sighting when I was 7, and then I didn't have anything happen until I was about 40, 45." I mean, who does that? Who does it? Who looks at the people who are going to come and just waits for 30 years for the right time to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, so Ginger, I was going to ask you. You said you live in a suburb, right?
In a subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the howlings that you heard initially, or maybe and since, are extremely loud, right?
Yeah, it sounded like it was through a megaphone.
So, are the people in the suburb experiencing it, or are they?
That one time it was around 2:30 in the morning. So, and that completely ran through my mind. Why is not everybody waking up and coming outside of their house? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing I've questioned. Like, why did I not feel fear when I stood in front of him? That's another thing I questioned. My husband said that he remembers the howling after I said something to him, that he thought maybe it was a dream.
Oh.
And so I think them appearing at 2:30 in the morning was quite strategic because people thought it was a dream or something.
Yeah.
And also, it almost sounded like a police siren, but not quite.
Okay. So So my point is did any of the other neighbors or whatever mention anything to you at any time? That
No, but
independent of you saying something about it?
no, but I never talked to my neighbors about it. I was afraid to.
Yeah.
I never ever mentioned it. However, I know the neighbor 2 doors down knew about them.
Okay. But no, here's my point though, is that, you know, they could have just put that into your field of perception. That how it might, and just like when people will hear construction or something outside of their tents, or a mountain falling down, or a boom, they can, like I'll reiterate, like I've said, they can give you any audible, sensory, or visual, is it?
Yes.
Experience in your field of perception that they want, and it might only be for you.
Yeah, obviously this one was just for me. Yeah. And now I did see the house lights come on across the way during the howling, but I didn't see anybody ever come outside. And but my husband heard it, but then he went back to sleep and he just thought it was a dream. So yeah, that one was just meant for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's interesting and revealing.
And all the rest of them are getting their contact at night, and they're getting ready and all this kind of stuff. Everybody's being made ready, so their time wasn't ready, so they didn't hear it.
yeah, yeah. It was, I wondered about that too. I wondered if they were able to block out the sound on everybody else because it was so loud. It didn't make sense at all that the whole neighborhood wasn't waking up and coming out.
Well, I think that kind of could be a very possible explanation for it, because I know that absolutely happens. I mean, I've been walking with people where there's 4 people, say, and 2 people will hear something that is so dramatic and loud and whatever, or whatever, or energy felt, and other people there don't experience anything. So we know that
That happened to me so much in the yard. It was so frustrating for me because they did that with me and my husband a lot. I'd be out on the porch and they'd be running all around, all these loud bipedal steps running all around. And I'd go get Paul, come hear this. As soon as he stepped out on the porch, they'd stop. And and they did that to me. I can't tell you how many times I was so frustrated. I would beg them to let Paul hear. I begged and begged so many times because they kept doing that to me over and over and over. Now he did get to hear some, but there was a ton he didn't. And they would stop right as he would go to listen or tune in. And I remember now I have learned though that he needs a hearing aid. So I think part of it was he couldn't hear.
Well, that's he's a husband though too, right?
Yes.
A lot of husbands need hearing aids.
Yeah, he did. He had to go buy one. And so I think I've figured out he can't hear the range of the bipedal steps because when we're out at other places now too, and we hear the bipedal steps, he can't really hear them unless they're extremely loud and he's real close by. He hears them sometimes, but not often. But I remember catching on funny that he wasn't hearing some of the ranges, and I was begging the biggies to let them hear him. And one night he was out here and we have a metal trash can burn barrel thing, and they started banging on the burn barrel, which is a higher pitch, and he could hear that easily. And I felt like they did that just because I was begging them, to let them hear him. So they did do it for me. They let Paul hear. So
that's awesome. We got some more pictures.
Okay.
Once I get him back up again. Hang on a second.
I forgot about that, how frustrating I used to get because he couldn't hear the stuff. So thank you for reminding me of that. I was begging them all the time. Come on, let Paul hear. They were doing that all the time. Or they'd be doing all the chatter talking out here and talking up a storm. Now, he did get to hear a lot of the samurai talking, though. He got to hear a lot of that. That was a pitch he could hear. But okay, this is a neat glyph. I really like this glyph. This is the exact same spot that ground stick you just showed was in. So I think that's interesting that they've got like a spot they leave things for me at. And this is a few years before, this is like 3 years ago, I'd had an encounter the night before right there. And so the next morning I came back to see if there was any kind of signs like prints or anything, and I didn't see a print, but this was right where I had the encounter. And that's right where that ground stick was too. So I
Yeah.
just thought it was interesting that they keep using the same location to show me something.
I've seen this clip before a few times. I actually played tic-tac-toe with them with a glyph like
It
this.
really looks like
I was
a tic-tac.
putting objects in different squares and they would move them around.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but everybody wonders, how do we know that the Bigfoot make structures and leave glyphs? Well, I got there first thing in the morning, before anybody could, get out there, and because the park opens a certain time, I was the only one there, and the park closed right after I left. I was the only one there that night, and the next morning that was there.
Yeah. Well, I can guarantee you they leave. This it's 110% a fact. I mean, they would leave the same glyph that they were communicating with me in my place, right beside my car door or whatever, in like Oregon or Washington, or like, on paved lots where there's no sticks other than the message. I mean, it's beyond doubt that they do that. Now, I will say that some of the structures are man-made, but we also know that they make quite a few of those too.
I think there are some that are man-made too, that are out there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That people make as shelters for them to hang out in overnight. Yep.
Or
But
for whatever reason.
I don't think this is a man-made one though.
Probably not. This is pretty cool. So what do you know about this one?
This is the same place I was just talking about that I have been going to lately, that I found the glyph and I found the ground stick. I call it Hootie's place because this is really weird how I found this place. I was, how you were talking about how they always know what you're going to do. I was just driving home one day and I just blanked out. Have you ever blacked out while you're driving? I just blacked out and I turned.
I try not to.
Yeah, I try not to too, but I did. And I turned off the road and made a right, and I came to, and I thought, what the heck? Why did I just turn? And so I just went, I knew something was going on there. I knew something grabbed a hold of me there. So I went down, I kept going down the road to see what was down it and could see why I turned. And it was this park with 120 acres of woods. And the first day I stepped into it, it was the middle of the day, like 3:30 in the afternoon, and owl calls went off in a circle all around me as soon as I stepped into the woods, barred owl calls. And that's where I found this structure. That's where the glyph you just saw was, and the ground stick and all. But I just thought it's an interesting story how I found this place, because I was just heading home. I wasn't looking for them or some woods to go hiking in or whatever. And then I come across this place that I've had lots of these encounters and cool structure finds. But when I found this structure, I was going out structure hunting a lot. I know Arla remembers that those years I was going out a lot. And Arla and Thom told me they were building structures for me. And I'd never thought about that before. And then I thought about it and I thought, I am asking them to guide me to structures when I come out there. I asked them to guide me to find them. And so I see what they're saying. It's in a way I was manifesting more with them. I was working with them because I was wanting to see them. I was asking them to guide me. So they were making them.
Yeah.
They're
definitely guiding you.
And I realized
from what you described that they were definitely guiding you. Yeah.
And I realized that's
cool.
what was going on.
Is this tied together or just?
No, it looks like it's tied together, but it's not. It's just all propped up on each other.
Yeah. Still amazing. Still. And are all these pieces carried or most of these are carried in independent, or are they pushed over?
I actually did a video on this where I did all the forensics on it, and I couldn't find where any of them came from except for 2 of the pieces of the star. And so the rest look like they were carried in. See that one right in the front where it's broke? That's a broke tree going into it. So that's
from there. Right here.
So that's from there. And then one other one I saw where the end of it came from, but the rest I could not find where the ends came from, where they came from.
This to me, if I found this And once again, the meanings are personal to us. And in some cases, I would say that this was a universal asterisk, but,
Yes,
you know, but that doesn't mean that that's what it means to you, but that's what I see for me personally.
that's what I
And when
saw
I,
too.
and I mean personally, because when I say that's what I see, that does not, let's get it understood that does not mean that I think that's what it means across the board. I think the exact opposite. For me personally, that would be my meaning between myself and them. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
you
that
could-
one.
Okay, let's see what else we got here.
It was pretty big too. It was way taller than me. Now this is another location. This was actually Sam had his own squatching area when he lived in Georgia, and he let Paul and I know about it one time. And this is actually down the road from his area. I drove across the street and I found a dead end road. Like again, I think I was guided, and
Yeah.
and it had all these huge, wonderful structures in it. And this is one of them. I think it's another asterisk.
Yeah.
And the first night my husband and I had walked in Sam's place, we were alone. I think Sam had already moved to Oregon then. And we walked, yeah, he had. We were walking in his place and we were just heading back because it had turned dark and we didn't know the trails yet. So we were heading back to the car. And Paul said, "Did you know you have a Bigfoot walking next to you?" And I didn't know. And I turned to the side, look, and sure enough, it was walking right next to me, parallel with me, and it had its eye shine on. It had the bright white eye shine on in both places. And it was just walking right next to me. And it wasn't making a sound, not one sound, which is interesting. And Paul saw it because of its eye shine. But
Wow.
so yeah, it's kind of weird that it didn't hear any bipedal steps or anything.
That's very cool story.
Uh-huh. The same location. This is just the one down the street from Sam's place. And there was a big teepee there. I was just amazed by the beautiful structures.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so how do you think they walk in the woods without making a sound sometimes? Do you think that's when they're in cloaked form?
Well, yeah, it can be. I mean, how, like same thing. How do they leave one print
Correct.
in the middle of a big muddy area that's, the size of a large room? I mean,
Because, I had one walk
Yeah.
out in front of me one time in my yard and it was cloaked and I did not hear any bipedal steps and it walked right out in front of me cloaked and I didn't hear a
Yeah.
sound.
well, yeah, they make quite a sound. I mean, generally when they walk, and I've had two
Yeah.
materialize out of thin air that walked right in front of me, and I didn't hear anything either.
Yeah.
just
And you know
nothing.
how loud the bipedal steps are. So when you don't
Right.
hear them, it's like, that's weird. Yeah.
Well, but there's another thing too. I mean, if they're letting you hear their footfalls, they want you to hear them. So, like, once again, it's that they will put any audible, visual, or sensory perception into your field of perception, because there's a reason why you're hearing them walk, and so they want you to hear them so that they will they can emphasize it if they want.
That's true, because like I said, when Paul would step outside, they would stop walking. And so they were allowing me to hear it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, or not just stop walking. Paul might not hear them because they don't want him to hear them.
Yeah. They just made it out of his frequency and range too, that he could hear it. Mm-hmm. Or blocked it from him.
Or they didn't put it into. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's
that's not mine, but that's pretty. I like the heart in the sky.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, that's my my heart in the sky. But I thought I had some more pictures. I had some more pictures of yours, so let me find them. You
There
did
were
some
some
drawings.
I made.
Yeah, so we'll find those.
That's an interesting story.
Isn't this beautiful? Here's my mountains.
Oh, which mountains are those?
Well, they're in BC. I don't know the names of them all, but
Those are near you?
Yeah.
Those are gorgeous. You're lucky duck.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I love mountains. So I'm thrilled with that.
Oh, okay. I got to go and find. Oh, there's Mr.
Look, Kevin again with his ice. Is that his ice cream?
Yeah, I got to find those. Maybe take the
You ought to make like
topic
a
and
pork and beans head photo of Kevin and the ice cream. He would love you for it.
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's kind of shy, but maybe he would.
Oh, sorry, my little mischievous very
Shapeshift-
part came out.
I'm gonna find those drawings. You guys say something intelligent.
Why don't you just stick around and give us orders?
Yeah, okay, I can do that. So
Ginger, it's always so wonderful to have you on because you got such a great heart and you got this good energy and amazing experiences. And
Thank
makes,
you.
makes me green with envy.
Oh,
Hey, Brian,
well, maybe
turn
sometime you
my,
come here to Georgia and we can share some experiences together.
Yeah, maybe I should come out your way one day.
Yeah, and we'll see what we can go have some to share.
yeah, go
Okay.
have a Big Mac or something.
Brian,
this
turn my
was-
camera on.
This is
Where are
what
you,
I made
Tom?
Turn my
Is Tom
camera
here?
on.
How was lunch, Tom?
I had a salad and a chocolate mousse.
Oh,
Mm.
I can't see you. Can you? I think you're gonna have.
Says your camera, you turn my camera off, so. Said cannot
You-
start your video because the host has stopped it.
Hang on a minute. Well, I might have to. Okay, you might have to.
Brian, stop being such a bully.
I can't see him though.
All
Hang on
it
a
says
second.
is Tater
Oh, there
Tom.
he is. There he is. There's Tater Tom.
That might be a good thing.
Ask to start video. There we go.
kind of
That
like me
better?
losing my voice. Yeah.
There we go.
There you get your happy.
There's
Oh, there you go.
Tom.
Hey, I
We
didn't
see
even have to
you.
tell you that time.
Uh,
Okay, here we go. Let's get back
I'm
to this
seeing double
drawing.
vision. I see two Toms.
yeah, that one and that
No,
one.
that's just all of him.
That's Felix on the other side.
Oh, I see. There we go.
Okay, this was I had made a drawing to explain an encounter I'd had once before because people talk about them going into other dimensions and stuff, and as Arla and I believe we can all do these things. And I had an experience once where Paul and I did walk through some portals or energetic doors and went into another dimension while the bigs were here. And I was drawing what I saw. This is pine straw that was sticking up like a teepee. And it was above these holes. We had walked into this other dimension and there was this big circle and there was no trees or bushes growing inside the circle. And inside the circle, there was a bunch of holes, but they were only around the edge of the circle. There wasn't any except around the edges of the circle. And above the holes was this pine straw and it was sticking up like little teepees. And if you took the pine straw off and put your hand down in the holes, you couldn't find the bottom of the holes. But if I tried to find this area in that circle without walking under certain structures, I couldn't find it.
Wow.
Yeah, so go to the next page, the next picture. See, now I'm bossing someone around, Michael. Okay, and then see, this is the circle that we walked into. This is what it was like. See how it has a bunch of holes all around the edges, and each hole had pine straw sticking up like a teepee above each hole.
Holy mackerel, that's like 20 little teepees.
Yeah, I didn't count how many holes I had. I mean, I don't remember counting how many holes there was. So this may not be accurate as how many holes there is in the drawing, but that's what it looked like.
And each one of those holes was like longer than your arm?
Each hole was longer than what I could reach down to. And each hole was big enough for me to stick my hand in, but not much bigger.
Wow. That's
And then
cool.
and the only way I could find this, go to the next picture, please. Okay, this is just a rough drawing I made in my backyard. You can see my house is in the bottom left corner and the neighbor's house is in the bottom right. And I just drew how there's trees and stuff because I have a real woodsy yard in back of me. In fact, I can show that right now. But and So these two trails had formed, and I went on the trail to the right. I went under this broke tree, which we call a structure. And I walked underneath it. And then I walked underneath this big arch. And then that's how I came across this circle with the holes. Now, I went back out the same way underneath that arch and then underneath the broke tree. And I came out and I said, Paul, you should really see this strange circle I found. And so I came out and I tried to go directly to the circle without going underneath that broke tree and arch, and I couldn't find it. I thought that is weird because, my neighbor and I only have an acre yard. Why would I not be able to find the circle? And so a thought came to me to walk underneath the broke tree and arch again and take the exact same path. And when we did that, we were able to find the circle. But if we didn't go underneath the broke tree and arch, the circle was gone and it wasn't there.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you, what is
That's
the distance?
mind blowing.
What is the distance from here to the circle approximately?
Well, being a woman, I'm not really good with distance, but okay. Let me see. I can turn my head so you can see. I can turn around so you can see
Well,
my.
no, I mean like 100 yards or something like that. Or?
Can you see where I'm pointing?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see some trees back there.
Yeah, right behind those trees right there.
So that's what, 100 yards at tops, 50 yards?
No, not even that.
Mm-mm.
I don't know, but that's
but just across the size of a fair sized backyard, basically.
Yeah. And
Well, then and so you're saying that if you went here and tried to find it from this point.
Yeah, if I went
and
like
it
straight
wasn't
from
there?
my house to the circle, I couldn't see it. I had to go through my wooded area underneath the broke tree and the arch to find the circle. That's the only way you could see it.
That's really revealing. That's amazing. So
And
that almost makes it sound like you did go through a portal or something. Because I've heard
absolutely.
that portals and whatever can be associated with arches.
Yeah,
And,
me too. I've heard that. And but I've walked under arches and had nothing happen. So I wonder if it was the combination of the broke tree and the arch and me doing it in that exact order.
Well, those are energetic signatures. That's what a broke tree and an arch bring to us. They're energetic. So when you're walking on that trail, your vibrations were changed. And as you went, they changed, and that's the format for how your vibrations had to change. Or in other words, you couldn't at this point just go from your house over to the circle.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, because this is not in
Mhm.
real time, like here, right?
Right.
Now, this is you're going through the energetic changers to get to that. So yes, those are kind of like doors. Okay, I know this is where I'm going to go, and I've got to go through this first door.
Yeah.
And then you go through that door, and it's so symbolic of life too. Then you've got another door you've got to go through, and you make it through that door, and then you come around to this magnificent circle with all these pyramids
Hmm.
that are around the edge of the circle, which in itself can transmit vibrational
Spirit
energy.
is touching me now when you said that.
Yeah,
I got spirit
yeah.
all around me.
So
Yeah.
that's where they took you to a place. It's here, but it's not here.
Yeah.
It's more than another dimension.
My whole body is tingling, which is confirmation for me.
It sounds like you get the same kind of confirmation as I do. It's like an energy tingling and
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. I like that. So
It's like, woo.
yeah, right.
Is it pine straw on the ground there everywhere you
Yes.
walk?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so here's a technical question. Like I know about digging holes, right? Because I've dug a lot of holes for fencing and stuff, being a carpenter in my life. And when you dig holes that are that big around, and that deep, you end up with a lot of sand left over, a lot of dirt left over. You know what I
There
mean?
wasn't any sand or dirt around. It just looked like high
Okay,
straw.
so that to me is like some kind of magic going on, because how could you dig that many holes and then there'd be no piles of sand anywhere?
Yeah, and one
What
other
will
thing
they
I
do?
have to,
Take a one hand of sand and then run away with it? That just
yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
yeah, there was a lot of like strangeness too. That's why I wanted to talk about this. I hadn't really ever shared this ever, I don't think, until this last week. And a lot of people do say they think portals or I mean, they're arches or portals or something. And I've had that happen to me, so I thought I would talk about it. That I went under some structures and energetic doorways, as Arla said, and my vibration
Yeah.
was changed to be able to go through them and go to the right place.
Yeah. So just to reiterate for the people listening in, you literally walk from here to the circle, which is about 30 yards, and it was not there going this route. You had to go through these portals or whatever these represented to get to it. That's amazing.
That was the only way I could find it. And I went
That's
back
I mean,
again.
sorry, Ginger. I mean,
No, it's
there's
okay.
there's no way you could have missed it. If it was there going this route.
Exactly.
There's no possible way you could have missed it.
Exactly. Now, let me tell you though, the circle was
Oh,
surrounded by hedges, and but still they weren't high hedges. They only came up to like my waist, so I should have still been able to see over the hedges. But I think that's what kept me safe and kept me from not if I had not came back out the same way I entered, I may have been stuck in that dimension. But because that circle was surrounded by hedges, I had to come out the same way I entered. That was the only way I could get out of it.
Oh,
I think
Because
I think the circle itself was possibly over a ley line crossing, and the circle itself was a portal.
we have a bunch of ley lines here. Very well could have been over a ley line. We're in a total ley line area. But there was an opening going into the circle. That was the one place there wasn't hedges. There was a little trail going into the circle. That's why I walked into the circle. I was following the trail. And then the rest of the circle was surrounded by hedges. So it kept me going out and in the same way to find it.
Yep.
Which is probably how you had to do it. So that's very specific. Was there some kind of energy or whatever you were feeling when you were in this circle around it?
I thought about that, and I can't remember at the time feeling any. Well, in the circle, I felt a strange energy because I remember I never wanted to stay in it long. Now, however, I believe sometimes we feel strange energies just because we're not used to something, and what we're not used to, we can fear.
Yep. That's exactly it. Is when those energies are more than what we
are used to.
Yeah, it does. And that's where you stop and you say, okay, now, why is this happening? What's going on here? And then if you can, get your vibration set to where they will raise, then you're good. But I love it because it actually shows kind of what we do when we go through these doorways. And for me, a portal is a doorway.
Yes.
You're going from one room to another room. You could say one dimension to another dimension. In this dimension that we're going to go into, the energy's, whoa, this is different. And then when you come back, the energy is different here. So these doorways can manifest anywhere.
That's just the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So do you think when, like, for instance, when Ari appeared in my room, is that different than going through a portal, or did he put a portal there to walk through?
He didn't have to.
I didn't.
I
know. That's what I thought. I mean, I don't think he had to walk through a portal. It was just like his intent, and there he was.
Yeah. Well, when Kashima cloaked me, for better term, when he cloaked me with him, it was not in another dimension. We were still there. Everything around was the same. I felt the same because I kept feeling myself to make sure. And that was not another dimension. That was in that space where that happened. And
Okay,
that's
so
a
why,
vibrational change.
so why, if they can appear, this is just anywhere they want, why do they have to walk through portals sometimes?
They
What is the
don't have
purpose?
to. They
But
don't
why
have
would they?
to
Why would they choose to walk through a portal as opposed to just appearing where they want to be?
because it's different. It's not the same thing. It's different.
Can you explain that?
It
Well,
may take you to a different place, even.
yeah.
I mean, just like my front door will take you to a different place than my neighbor's front door. So maybe if I do it differently, I can get to a different place.
No, but
One thing I'd like to
Okay, go ahead,
know
Tom.
about though, that broke tree, where did it lose its money? So it was broke.
That poor thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez, Tom.
And then you know what? Mother Nature deteriorated it and it lost everything. But
That wasn't one of your better ones you've ever.
Well, I was just sitting there looking, the word should be broken, and it just kind of
yeah.
wore on me for a while.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Arla, I
A
have a
broken
question.
tree.
I have a question for Arla. Arla, when you were cloaked, uh, with your Sasquatch friends, did you actually feel any different in your body?
No, I did not. And, I've told this story before, and the reason I know nothing couldn't see me, because I'd asked him, I said, take me to the place where you go. Can you hide me? Can you hide me? Because there had been some wild turkeys there. And it was like boom. And like, I don't know, 15 feet away from this one wild turkey. And I'm going, I'm feeling my whole body and I feel exactly the same. I feel the same with the exception of feeling a little lighter, maybe. And the one thing that I noticed the most was my feet were not touching the ground,
Wow.
and
Mhm.
neither was his. So that tells me that when we do this, we release that connection that holds us, that gravity,
To
which
Mother Earth.
is the Earth Mother's way of
Mhm.
keeping us safe and not flying off into the universe.
Yeah.
When we can release that, then we can change our physical ability to do something.
Well, the
So
reason why I ask you that is because when they kind of assisted me, I had my at least one or two Sasquatch assisting me to go invisible. When my leg went invisible, I did not feel it. I looked down and was shocked that I only had one leg.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
didn't feel it. And it's like I was trying to feel it and it didn't feel like it was gone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then another time when I went on a craft, went up, down, like, right, because I went up to craft twice in the same 3 hours or 5 hours.
Because you
And
wanted
I
a
felt
smoke
no,
break,
and I
right?
felt and I felt nothing. I didn't feel like I was disappearing and coming back and then
no, no, not
no,
at
it was
all.
nothing. It was just like I was there and then I was
Yep,
here and then I was there and
yep,
then I was here again and I felt nothing. And that's what shocked me the most. That's why I'm just trying to put these little dots together.
yeah, because
This going invisible, you may not feel anything.
yeah,
You
Well,
might not even know you're invisible.
I bet you I went invisible when I went through those energetic doorways and into that
yes, you
circle.
did.
You very
Yes, you
possibly could
did.
have.
Yeah.
Because if we can't see the circle normally, then you shouldn't have been able to see me either.
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah, you changed too.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing about, this has so many multiple layers of teaching. I mean, you've got the path of life where, we have to go through different doors. And as
Mm.
we go through those doors, if we are doing this through our heart, then we're going to be able to go through this door and then go through the next door, and each subsequent door we raise our vibrations, literally.
Yeah.
And so, you've got that. Okay, this is how this is done.
Mhm.
You've got to get to this level and get to that level. And it's not like it's a level up or down, it's a
Right.
level of energetic vibration that
Hmm.
this physical body has to get to do that. And the one thing about when Kashima hid me with him or cloaked me, we the turkeys just filtered on and we continued our walk. Well, when we were coming back by where the turkeys were, he was bringing me in increments back to my body that is gravity affected. And it was interesting to see this because of the way that turkeys reacted. The first door that we came to, they didn't do anything. That next door that we came through, heads went up and they were listening. The next one that we came through, they knew we were there and they were scattering.
Do you
And
think
the only effect I had from it was I was mellow, I guess is the only term to use. It was like I need to go lay down, not because I'm worn out, but because I just need to go lay down. And
do you
so,
do you think if you had walked up and petted them on the head in the first door when they were not even aware of you, that they would have felt you?
no, no, I don't think. I mean, the one that was right there, the closest, about 15 feet, I'm going, oh my gosh, that turkey can't see me. That turkey can't hear me. I could almost spit that far and, touch that turkey. They were so, but and wild turkeys, that's not going to happen with a wild turkey for you
No,
to get up anywhere
no.
near that close.
That's
Yeah.
one of the most wary birds there are.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
the funniest thing in Mr. Beans' story, and I just find it humorous and just in a gentle kind of humorous way, is that, and I correct me if I'm wrong, Beans, but you were there. You went back because you wanted to have a smoke, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, I was talking on this stage.
Imagine that.
I was talking on the stage for 3 hours. It was like, let me have a little cigarette. I mean, it's like I was performing. Yeah. But what I also wanted to,
I
what I,
gotta go pee soon.
That's fine. Go do it. Go do
go
it.
ahead, I'll tell
We're
you
not
Okay.
going to go too
story.
much longer anyway, but go do
yeah,
it and then
because
come back.
I'm going to have to leave too. I've got to play
Okay.
Nurse
I can
Arla.
hang in there a little longer till you all leave. Yeah.
I wanted
Oh,
to, I
okay.
wanted to talk about Barry Webster because Barry Webster was in the woods with one of his hot spots, and his sister was in the truck watching him, right? And he did his little prayer thing, and he asked one of the Sasquatch to come, and he wanted to meet him, right? He wanted to meet him, shake hands, or talk to him or something. So the Sasquatch comes up to him in invisible form, and was kind of like yelling at him, "You want to see me? You want to see me? Do you sure you want to see me?" And anyway, what his sister said was, um, Linda Joe Free. She said that uh, Barry Webster went invisible all the way up to his chest, and then when the Sasquatch stepped away, Barry was not actually standing on the ground. He actually sank down about 6 inches till his
Yeah.
feet hit the ground. So this is collaboration with what
Yep.
you said and your experience and what Barry experienced. So there's
Yeah.
collaboration there about not actually touching the ground.
Yep.
Wow.
And that would
So
also
Jim,
explain how they go
go
so
ahead.
extremely fast, because when people talk about them going
Good point.
extremely fast,
Yeah.
they're not actually
I've seen
touching the
that.
ground.
I've
Yeah.
seen that where it looked like a blur in front of me run by. I was with
Yeah.
another friend, and we were hiking down a trail, and all of a sudden it was a brand new place we'd never been to, and we saw this blur go by, and we found one print only.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
it's almost 4 o'clock on my side. Maybe we should just wrap this up
Yeah.
instead of let everybody
Okay.
pee and go home. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I was
Y'all
just gonna
have
say,
me
I was
dinner?
just gonna say, I just want to ask you two more things. The thing that
Okay.
we all, and then like another 5 minutes. Is there any special, and I know they're all special, any special stories you shared with either Thom or Arla that you wanted to share? And then I wanted to ask you the question we ask everybody.
Okay. I don't know. Can y'all think of any I should share that I haven't shared? I mean, I have a lot of encounters, but I don't know if you know what's most important to share. I think one of the most special ones for me was when I walked up to the two in my yard in arm's length and got to meet them up close and personal. You know, that was the one I kept questioning Thom about. Why was I not scared?
Right.
Because it seems like I should have been scared. But I had a bag of peanuts in my hand, and I was throwing out peanuts along the trail for them. And all of a sudden, I just looked up, and there was two an arm's length of me standing right in front of me with bright green eye shine. And you had mentioned on the show you thought they scanned people. That's exactly what I felt like what was going on.
Oh.
And because it seemed like I stood there in front of them for like 15 minutes or so, and no, they didn't move, they didn't say a word, but they had this bright green eye shine looking right into my eyes. And I was so amazed by the eye shine. All I did was keep looking into their eyes. And it was like I was hypnotized by the beauty. And then all of a sudden, I broke free from it and said, "Do you want some peanuts?" And held out my hand. And I know it's a strange story, but that's what happened. And I held out my hand and I offered them some peanuts and I'm like that. And they didn't move again or say anything. And they just stood there with the green eye shine. And I just said, okay, well, because you know that I'm realizing I'm standing here in front of you, Bigfoot. So I took the peanuts and sat them on the ground and said, well, I'm just going to turn around then and leave some for you and walk away. And then I just turned my back to him and walked away. And I remember thinking when I turned my back, I sure am showing trust for something I just met, you know, and then I thought, but I thought that would work good. I remember doing that on purpose, trying to show trust so that they would trust me too.
Beautiful. Okay, so we'll ask you the question we ask everybody. So how has your life been changed since you were consciously, because we know you were subconsciously connected to them for a long time, since you were consciously connected to Sasquatch, how was your life changed?
Well, for the better. I mean, there were a lot of things, like I was already a nature person, so that hasn't changed. But my mom was bringing that up yesterday. She said, "Don't you remember you were in nature every day when you were a kid?" And I said, "I remember, Mom." But the way it's changed is it's brought me a family that I can be free to be me in front of now. I don't have to hide anymore and worry that if people see my abilities, they're going to think I'm evil. And I am free to be me. I am free to talk about my encounters and show them. I'm free to talk about things I do or things I experience. And that is the biggest, most wonderful gift I've had. That brings tears to my eyes.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, Ginger, thank you so much for coming on the show.
thank you so much.
I think we got another show or two in the works. Just, you know, I don't think, you know, we feels like we barely scratched the surface and we could probably go on all day. But but thank you so much for coming on, and thanks,
Thank
Ma.
you for
Thanks,
the
Mom.
honor. Thank you for the
Mom.
honor of
Thanks,
asking me.
Mom.
It's quite the honor. And thank you, Thom and Arla, for showing up and being
All
here with me.
right.
That was
Yeah.
quite the
You
honor
know-
too.
And
You
Sam,
know where you stand in
Sam.
my life, so that wasn't a big
I love
deal
you.
for me.
And I
love
hope
you
to see you guys soon. I'm gonna try to get up to Washington and out there and out
too.
to Oklahoma. I keep trying to Oklahoma.
Whoa,
And I'll get there one day.
whoa.
And
Whoa.
Canada.
Remember, I said you always, you know, I would like just once to be the priority. Come to
You were number
Canada.
one. You were number. I was saving the best for last.
Ah, there you go. That was a good
save,
recovery.
Nice cover.
Good
I
save.
don't believe you, but thank you. But that was very, very, very nice.
for ending. in the can, pork and
Pork and beans.
man.
We love pork and beans. Handy, handy, handy. Oh, candy, candy, candy. Go ahead, Beans. Okay, everybody.
Pan in the pan. Man, we love pork and beans.
I would just
This
like
is
to
a
say,
good- this is
everybody,
good.
everybody subscribe and like the Pork and Bean Show on Facebook and join us. And I've got a YouTube channel that I put all the videos on. Sasquatch BC, the true story, and a lot of the teachings from RE and my personal experiences. And like and subscribe. Can you like them? I guess so. But subscribe to that if you could. And I put a lot of work into that channel. So thanks everybody for coming. And on behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Baines, this has been the Pork and Bean Show. Thank you, Tater Tom. Thank you, Ginger Tink Lockwood, soon to be Ginger Snap or something like that. Thank you, Ma Peach Cobbler. And thanks everybody for patronizing the show and watching who's in our Facebook group. We love
Got
you
a
all.
lot of good comments, so you can go check them out sometime today
Yeah.
after you
Yep.
pee.
I sure will.
Well,
Okay.
it's time for all the old
Things
folks
in
to go
order.
pee.
I've been twice or three times already. We old guys got to do that, you know.
You beat me to it.
Yeah.
You're getting worse than the ladies, Tom.
Hey.
The ladies usually have to tinkle more than the guys.
I
but
found-
you're
I
catching up.
Found out yesterday that I've been on Spokane TV this last week or so.
Did you?
Advertising the Medellin Falls conference coming up in a couple of weeks. And
wow.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. And then I have something quick to say. And then but go ahead.
Lee Root says every time the ad comes on, there's Tom. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm there.
Yay.
That's cool. So I found out, or I didn't find out. Somebody approached me. So on June 14th, Sue and I are going to go to a Cub Scout meeting, and we're going to talk about Sasquatch.
Well, that's
Awesome.
That's really cool.
that
Awesome.
is really cool. And then
So we're
I
gonna-
love it.
just to go right along with you, I just found out while I was having my lunch that June 14th, they asked me to do a presentation here on Sasquatch.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, that's cool.
You go,
So, yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
So Sue and I are gonna do a little, write out a
Yep.
little kind of thing, and basically start off like,
7-year-olds,
what do you think of Sasquatch? Do you believe in them? What do you think? Like
7, 8,
It'll be good.
9-year-olds. Great questions. Those are good. I mean, those are professional question askers.
Yes,
that
they
age.
are.
Yeah.
yeah. So we're really looking forward
That
to
would
that.
be fun. That would be really fun.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Don't forget that Thom Cantrall's got lots of books that he wrote. Brian Bland has got a couple
And
of books
Arla.
that he's wrote, and then
Arla
the
does.
world famous speaker and wisdom keeper. Arla's got a couple of books she's got out, so everybody's got books. So go,
Oh, wait a
we're all-
minute.
Except for me, I'm illiterate.
Wait a minute.
Tom
You said we all got books, but then you gave world famous speaker and wisdom keeper. We're not just chopped
And I'm
liver.
actually working on a book
You're
right
not
now.
you're not a wisdom keeper.
What do you mean?
Arla is.
What am I? I'm saying some
Well,
good stuff
you,
here.
you go off to the reservation, try your shtick on those guys and see how it works.
I
Well,
think we need a
you'd be
drum
surprised.
roll
You'd be
here.
surprised. A lot of those guys don't know as much as we do. Some of them do. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm just joking anyway. Yeah, we're all good. We're all doing what we're supposed to be doing.
We're all good.
We're all good.
We're all good.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard you
World
were
famous
gonna
healer. World.
to do a book that.
World famous healer. Yeah. What were you saying, Tom?
I said I heard Ginger was going to do a book, and I offered my help. Anything that you need.
We're still going to come to you. We're still working on it. In
All
fact,
right.
I got to do some more stuff on it this week. So I'm still
Okay.
counting on you.
How far along are you on it?
At least half or more done.
Okay.
Tinker Tales.
If you
Yeah, the
need
Tinker Tales.
yeah,
That's actually a really good name, Brian.
Tinker Tales.
that is a good name. I like
Brian, you might have just taken our title and given it to us. Thank you. Yes.
that.
Tinker Tales. Yeah, I like that.
I like it too. That just might be used. Thank you. Yeah. I got a friend helping me, and we're gonna go to you as soon as we're done.
Okay, cool. Anything
Alrighty.
from buddy reader to publisher?
Yeah. And then one of the ladies I was just talking to this week that's gonna give you a ride, that I put in a lot of good words for you. She
Mhm.
mentioned writing a book with me too. So I think I'm gonna be going through you again for that.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's two in the works here right now.
I've got, well, yep. I'm a resource. Use me.
Thank you.
To say the least.
So everybody look for the new book Tinker Tales to be released soon.
I'm gonna use that. I love it.
That's
Thank you,
awesome.
Brian.
You're welcome. Well, are we
Bye now.
Bye now.
We'll
Love you
we'll
all.
talk to you.
Love
We'll
you
talk to you all
guys.
later.
Uh,
Bye
Out of
bye.
Thanks to
here.
everybody who watched. Thanks, you guys, our fans. We got 4 of them.
We got 4 of them.
Bye,
That's
you
funny.
guys. Love you.
See ya. We got
Bye.
4 of them.